So, hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is a one shot of The Hunted by Chris Bissett. This is a Forged in the Dark short game that is very striking. I've run once before and quite enjoyed. This session is part of Shared Hearth, which is the Open Hearth Gaming's online free TTRPG convention. And right now we have a block of about 4 hours for play. We'll be taking a couple of breaks within that. It may take less than that. We'll see how that goes. I will mention that if we get to the last like 30 minutes, you may see me hard framing things to get things into place. I try to be super cognizant of people's time, so I do try to keep track of that. Uh, this is a game about a set of friends who, on a weekend break, have gone to the default in the game is a barren moor, or it can be another location. We'll talk about that. They've gone out there, they've been wandering. The fog has started to roll in, and they've begun to realize that they are being hunted by something. The touchstones for this are the Blair Witch, the Ritual. There are a number of these Dark Pictures anthology video games that have been recently that kind of share the same tropes. Once we get to that end of that first act and the player is starting to realize what's going on, we play out the group trying to navigate and escape at the same time telling stories about what they know about this place, what they've heard about this place, and building up the lore, which may be contradictory, which may fit together, which may build on one another. Will build up those stories. The default for the game, as I mentioned, is England's Peak District, open, barren, isolated. But we've got a couple of other options when we come to the building phase here. We can be in a dense forest, we can be in canyons, we can be in mountains. There are a lot of options for that. So this is a very structured game. The approach that we're going to be taking today is we are going to be picking our playbooks. This uses a Forge in the Dark system with a little bit of a difference. Alex, have you played Forge in the Dark?
I haven't, but
Okay.
I'm aware of it.
Okay. Well, I'll talk when we get to the character creation. I'll talk just a very brief. It's a very simple system, but I'll make sure that when we go through, I'm clear about what we're doing in terms of mechanics. We're going to do good character creation, making some choices there, then doing introductions, and then there'll be some questions about your relations to the other characters that we'll do, kind of building up the bonds. And at that point, we will move to answering questions about the place that you're at, playing out a little bit of that. There will come a point at which things have gotten deep, and we're going to move into sort of Act Two. Act Two will go on for a while. There are going to be a couple of obstacles that are in play. When one of those has been dealt with, we hit the end of Act Two and we generate a plot twist. And then we roll into Act Three, which is hope you survive. Our characters will not be able to die until that last act, that third act, but horrible things can happen to them before that. So be aware of that. This is a horror game. It's not necessarily a gore fest at all, but this is a dark game. Our characters have problems with one another. They know each other, they're friends, but they have some tensions, and that's part of what's going to get explored through this, even as we're dealing with the horror that's out there with you in this isolated place. Uh, with that in mind, we use a layered set of safety tools. And in the Keeper, you'll see that there is a safety and resources tab. Uh, we have sort of three main tools that we're using. At the bottom line, we have lines, veils, and ask first. Lines being anything you want to mark as a hard line that I don't want to see that in this game. This is not the topic or issue or idea that we're going to be presented in this. Veil being anything that if it were to occur, we fade to black, or it happens obliquely, kind of off screen. And then ask first being something you just want to make sure that we have a check-in before it comes to the table. Now, this list is not necessarily complete. If there are other topics or issues that you want to add to that, please feel free to do so. This is also a living document, so if you need to add something later on in play, you can certainly do that. After sort of the character creation, before we go to introductions, I'll go over what people have made as choices on those things. That's the first sort of base tool. The second is the X card, very commonly used. In the case of our online play, you can say X card, or you can do this gesture. Nobody ever does this gesture, but I always do it. But the X card we use to mark out content that we find objectionable, that we find problematic, that we find wildly off tone. Those are all reasons why we might X card something. When you X card something, the only question we might ask is like, how far back do we need to cut? You know, how far back do we need to shift things up? When you invoke the X card, you don't have to explain why you've made that choice to invoke that. You don't have to defend that decision. You are welcome to do that, but you are not obliged to do that. The X card also, if something happens a couple of times in the game and later on you're like, okay, now that's bugging me, you still have the right to X card it, even though maybe you passed it by the first couple of times. You should not feel bad about that. The X card is also a point if you need the X card to have us recalibrate on something, if something kind of like maybe the play has gotten a little out of hand or something, that's a place to do that. The most common thing for X cards, especially in a one shot, is maybe we started to head towards a line or a veil, and we haven't quite caught that. The X card is a good point to go, hey, I think we're heading towards X, Y, or Z. The last thing we have is we have an open door policy, which means that if you need to step away from the table for whatever reason, emotional, someone's at the door, whatever, you should feel free to do that. It'd be great if you could tell us that you're going to be back in chat, but you're not obliged to. Sometimes you're in a game and you're not feeling it. And it's certainly reasonable to do that. I am old enough that I do not want to have people playing a game that they're not enjoying. That I don't want to be playing or stuck in a campaign that I'm not enjoying. So I take that very seriously. We do have a romance matrix, but I don't think that really applies necessarily here because we're going to be making some choices in our character builds up, and we can kind of talk about those boundaries as we go to that. So let's go to the characters tab. That's the first thing that we're going to be doing here in play. There are 4 archetypes. Each of these archetypes has a very basic theme. We have our jock, outsider, resilient, and skeptic. They begin with 3 dots on particular skills there. Actions, as they're called in Forged in the Dark, you're going to get an additional 3 to spend. Actions in these games, there is a fair bit of overlap between them. But we're kind of, when we go to ask you what you're doing and we look at something, we try and figure out what action fits best with that. That provides the default number of dice that you're going to get to roll, in addition to a base 1. In this game, you always have 1 die to roll, and then any dot that you have in one of those actions will give you an additional die. And rolling in this game, there's some other ways to get some additional dice in that pool, but you'll roll those dice, and we'll look what the highest number is. If it is a 6, that is a complete success. If it's a 1 to 3, that's a failure. And there's a cost there, possibly consequences. If it's a 5, you have a choice. You can hesitate and go around and choose a different approach. Like you've started to do something, but you've chosen, or you can push through and there will be a minor consequence, minor cost to you. 4 is you do it, but there is definitely a consequence there. The things that you have in terms of your hit point and resource tracks, we have fear. Fear is our stress track for this game. You're going to be using that up in the course of play. When that is filled, you're going to get a permanent trauma and clear that track. You also have boxes for harm. You've got 2 level 1 boxes, 2 level 2 boxes, and a level 3. Those are some of the things that are going to come into play here. You're also going to get a special ability. There's a list of those 3 choices down below. And each of the characters has a different set of stories that they can tell. One of the ways that you can get the extra die in play is you can spin a story using one of these prompts to back that up. And then you get the extra die. I get a currency. You don't need to worry about that. Just go ahead and do that. You don't need to worry your heads about that at all. So the characters are fairly abstract. You're going to be adding 3 dots, and you're going to be choosing your special ability, giving yourself names and pronouns. Then we'll have you introduce yourselves, and then we'll come back and have people answer 2 of their character questions. So uh, uh, let me start up. I'm going to call you by your name. It's in the thing, Mr. Priestley. There. Do you have a preference on which of these playbooks that you would like or not
Oh,
like?
well, can I just say, yeah, it's my wife's Zoom account,
I
so
I
yeah.
I figured that Alan Rees has that as well. So
I didn't realize. Anyway, I'm David, by the
okay,
way.
excellent. Uh,
Um,
thoughts?
do you know, just off the top of my head, I might go outsider. I think that might be fun.
Okay, and then Tiest. Is that how I'm going to say that?
Yeah, Teast rhymes
Teast.
with priest
Okay,
or beast. Yeah, I thought I'd go for the skeptic.
okay. And then Alex, we have the jock and the resilient.
Uh, I'll go with Jock.
Okay.
Yes.
Rod, are you okay with the resilient?
I am. Thank you for picking me last.
Yes.
It
I know
saves me
you
from
always
choosing.
hesitate. So,
Yes, thank you.
so let me give everybody a few minutes to name pronouns, make those choices about actions, and choose one of those abilities down below. I'm going to mute myself while this is going on.
So can you just just repeat that? Sorry. You're muted.
Hit that too fast.
Yeah.
You're gonna put 3 more dots
Yeah.
on those actions. You've got 3 that are already there.
Okay.
And then you're going to choose one of the special abilities that are down below on row 41.
Okay. Great.
And that's it. Name and pronouns as well.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to do introductions, and I'm going to go across the keeper in order from left to right. Just to refresh, these are the things that have been chosen as our base lines and veils. We have a hard line on harm to children, homophobia, racism, sexual assault, and torture by the PCs. And then we have a veil on anything involving harm to animals. We might see evidence of something, but we'll glide over that and not dwell on those kinds of things. So this is basically the elevator pitch for your character, how you're imagining them, what they look like, what you're thinking their personality is going to be like here. Go around, and then we'll do the character questions, which will tell us more about them. So let us begin with the jock. If you can introduce yourself, your character's name, their pronouns, and kind of how you are picturing them.
Okay, my name is Alex. I'm playing Jack Holmes, just Jack. He, him pronouns. He's quite tall, blonde, athletic, the classic jock. Cocksure on the outside, so he's very confident. But if you know him, because you do, you're friends with him, you probably get a feeling that there's some deeper insecurity going on underneath. Has a bubbling hero complex beneath the surface as well. Do you want me to go through the special abilities, or?
Yeah, what did you pick for the special ability?
I got if you don't see me again, when you at when you and at least one of your companions takes a moment to rest, when you throw yourself into harm's way to protect your friends, you take a bold action to help everyone get away. Take 1d
Yeah,
on your
I
roll.
think that first sentence is my a cut and paste error.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
sorry.
like,
Yeah, that was
it's
me.
okay.
So like that kind of general athlete does everything, or do you think that he has a particular sport that is
Yeah,
his?
I don't know. I don't. I guess it. I don't know what are we doing. England Peak District, or are we doing some other kind of?
Well, I think we've got some Brits here, so
Sure.
let's say the Moors probably,
Yeah.
England at the very least.
Let's say he's like a 1500-meter runner,
Okay,
sort of middle distance kind of runner.
okay,
So he's lean and fast, not sort of sports team, but
okay,
he's still super confident. Wears
okay,
sunglasses. There
okay.
you go.
I like it. All right. We'll come back around. You can take a look at those questions that are in the drop downs to see kind of what
Ah,
ones you might want to put out there. We'll come back to those. Next,
sorry,
the
drop downs.
yeah, if you look at the character questions,
Yep, sorry, no,
that's okay.
my God.
Yep.
Yep.
Next is our outsider.
Okay, I'm David, and tonight I'm going to be playing Jake, he, him pronouns. Jake is an outsider. He's medium build, a bit scrawny. He's just finished school, and I think he's at college doing film studies. He was kind of too cool for school, so he's probably going to be a director or something like that. But he's just gonna get his qualifications at college first. He wears a hoodie and jeans and boots and probably some kind of indie band t-shirt. And yeah, he's I don't know, he's kind of the original edgelord, I guess.
Okay. And what did you pick for the special ability?
The one about if I can reference a movie that I saw and I know my horror movies, then I get a bonus dice because I know what's going to happen.
In terms of being like film studies, is this someone who, serious French school cinema verite, or is this someone who's making amateur films or doing TikToks or influencing? What are you imagining there?
I think it's all David Cronenberg
Okay.
and David Lynch.
All right. Perfect. And then next is our resilient.
Yeah, I'm Rod, he, him. I'll be playing Arthur Centino or Art, he, him also. And I picture him as he has messy blonde hair, happy-go-lucky. I put charming, tries to be positive to a fault. Uh, and as a special ability, I put to hell with it when you try something ridiculous and hope it works. Make a fortune roll plus with luck plus 1d.
Okay.
And
Uh, what what is Art's like job? Like what does he do in real life?
I think he's a life coach.
Okay.
And yeah, tries to encourage people.
In a good way or in a hey, I took a class, a marketing class, and I think I could probably do this kind of thing now.
Oh, I think yeah, I think his only real skill is to be encouraging.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. That seems awesome. And last is our skeptic.
Brilliant, yes. So this is Dennis. Dennis is very English and spent his youth watching a TV show called Scrap Heap Challenge, which I think did make it to the US, but the general idea was you go sort of scavenging for bits of machines and stick them together and solve some kind of problem. And he loved it. And it really stuck with his sort of, he's very much a head down study kind of guy, but he also really likes to tinker with physical machines and things. Um, and yes, the special ability is debunk the myth. So when you and at least one of your companions take a moment to rest and recuperate, choose a story that has been told about the hunter and explain why it can't possibly be true.
Excellent. So do you suppose this obsession with tinkering and machinery has this served him well in his life, or has it been a distraction?
No, it's very much been a distraction.
Okay.
He's doing some like I think he's probably a civil servant, just doing accounting-y kind of bookkeeping stuff, and he's always daydreaming about that next you know block that he's designing or something like that.
A little bit of dumpster diving when he sees something interesting, bits he can pick up and take. Okay.
Yeah, distractible for sure.
Uh, all right. So we're going to come back around and we're going to have everybody answer these questions. So each of them has a set of questions that tie your characters to the world and to each other. We're going to have you do one, and then we'll go around, and then we'll come back around and have you do your second one. Uh, this kind of works together as a group. If you have a question that kind of ties you, kind of points, and you have a sense of who you want to point it at, you can suggest that, and you can see if they want to take it, or you can offer it up to the table. So for Jack Holmes, uh, which which question do you want to start with?
Nice, juicy question. What secret moment did we share recently? And I'm not sure who to ask this with. Um, maybe I didn't write your actual art. No,
Okay.
yeah, art. Why not?
So Art, here's our life coach. So what kind of thing do you imagine would be appropriate for this kind of secret moment? Either you have ideas, suggestions? Is this
I
something conspiratorial or a rumor or did something wrong or what?
did you have any ideas, Alex? Or
I don't know. I don't know.
okay,
So something secret that you're a life coach, you're positive. Maybe I'm going through some sort of crisis, personal
um,
crisis,
wh- uh, maybe are you
relationships.
there could be like yeah, do you want to say there's
So
are you having relationship trouble?
maybe I've been in a long-term relationship, even though I'm relatively, how old are we?
Well,
We're
at
like
least one person's mentioned sort of college age or
college stuff.
around there.
Let's say
Yeah.
we're like 20 odd, then maybe I've been in a long-term relationship like since I was 17. But I kind of feel like I want to get out, but then basically been the most of my adult life, and so I'm try to get some input from you. I'm not
Oh,
sure what you said though.
Yeah. So for Art, your friend comes to you, given that you've known these people for a while, you probably know Art's girlfriend, boyfriend. What do you think for Alex?
Let's go boyfriend. That's me too.
Okay. You've known his boyfriend, he's at least part of the circle and kind of put you in a difficult position because he's come and talked to you about this. What is Art's kind of response to that?
yeah, I think it would just be like, follow your gut and then yeah, follow your gut, and if it changes, then follow it again. Kind of like there's nothing irreparable, but if you just don't do anything, then that's when bad things happen. You have to like keep, stay
But
active and stay
what
ahead.
about what about the pain I'm going to cause Jim?
Well, that's well, I mean, that just might make the relationship stronger if you do get back together. Like you can't avoid pain.
Can't avoid pain. I like it.
Interesting. I like that uh, 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 generic advice there that works there. Uh, Jake, which of your two questions do you want to answer here?
Mm, I think, can I, oh, am I asking or answering the question?
So you'll kind of put it out there, and
Okay.
like you'll suggest an answer, and you kind of negotiate through it, but you're kind of setting it up.
Okay. Well, can I ask, Jack, when was the time you came to my defense in a social situation?
Okay. So Jake, you're an outsider. Oh, but you're into movies, which I probably like.
And can I just
So
say on
may
principle, I don't like you because you're a dog.
okay.
So,
Um, maybe someone was taking the Mickey's. Maybe some other people. Maybe we were at university together. But obviously studying different subjects because whatever. Um, but maybe someone was taking the Mickey out of your indie band T-shirt. But they're like into they don't really know what is good music. So I kind of intervened, put them down, told them that the band was great and they don't know what they're talking about. And yeah, so
Do you
but
think that Jack actually knows the band, or was Jack just kind of stepping in just because he didn't like what was happening?
I think he was just stepping in.
Okay.
Yeah,
And how did Jake take
I
that?
think
Oh,
I think
I think
Jack is a
Jake,
faker.
okay.
right. And I think Jake knows that Jack's a faker, but, and he pretended that, none of you guys know what you're talking about, but it kind of diffused the situation and took the pressure off him because he was getting a bit of he was having a hard day, and maybe Jack saw that. But I mean, Jake doesn't really acknowledge that.
Okay. Okay. I think that's absolutely fair. Art.
Yeah, I'll ask the first question to Teast, for Dennis. What was the time you saw me narrowly avoid death?
Avoid death. Wow. Um, sure. So yeah, so we're good friends, and you're right. Yeah. Okay. So I think we'd gone out, just sort of wandering around, hanging out together, and I'd seen like something hanging from a tree somewhere, and it was like, maybe a bit of a drone or something like that, and it's like, oh wow, that's that's like a costly bit of kit. I'd really like to get my hands on that, but it's up in the tree. And you're like, oh, we'll just go and get it. It's like, oh, no, 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 no. Look, it's up there. Like those are thin branches up there, and you're, hey, yeah, well, whatever. And sure enough, you climb up the tree, and the branches do snap underneath you, and you come tumbling, tumbling, tumbling down. And I run over to you, and it's like, oh, you're right, Arthur, you're right, and you're on the ground, and you're going, yeah, I'm all right, and hold up the drone in your hand.
Art, what injury did you actually have there that you maybe haven't like didn't reveal to Dennis? Like what actually did you manage to hurt there?
Oh, uh, climbing a tree. Uh, yeah, I think I don't have full mobility in one of my arms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit that. It since then you've had kind of a slightly frozen shoulder, a little bit of that. Okay. Okay. Uh and then Dennis.
Yeah, so I thought I'd go for the fun one because I think that Dennis is the least intimidating person that there is in this group. So I'm putting it out there. Who is intimidated by Dennis and why?
Interesting. Anyone want to take that?
Um, I am secretly intimidated by Dennis because he's actually a lot cleverer than I am. I walked the walk, but I did really badly at school, and it's kind of a bit shameful, really. But I kind of look up to Dennis. I wish I was as clever as he was, basically, because he can just make stuff and do stuff.
Like what is something that you've seen Dennis do that you're like that just kind of gets you that I wish I could just do that kind of thing.
I think, even just we probably had I don't know, a uni film night or something like that, and I was sort of um, faffing about with all the cables and the monitors and just having a bit of a panic and trying to look like I knew what I was doing. But then Dennis just came in and was like, just within 5 minutes, just absolutely booted everything up and got everything running really slick, just stuff that I couldn't even understand. And, I pretended that I knew all along.
Nice, nice. Let's come back to to Jack. What is the other question that you want to ask here? Put out there.
Okay. This is from the second set.
Yeah, they should be identical. I think it's the same set on both
I
of them.
think mine are
Are
different.
they?
Oh no, maybe they are. No, no, you're right. Um, okay. What have I done to upset you, and why haven't you told me yet? And I'm gonna ask that to Dennis,
Okay.
the skeptic. So, what have I done to upset you, and why haven't you told me yet?
Let's see. so so you were saying like that you often just sort of say stuff, not to start a fight, but sort of like, no,
Yeah,
be
fake a lot of things.
fake a lot of things, right? And we were at a party or something, um, and I was having a chat with girl, and you came in and you just blustered your way through, and you started talking, complete rubbish, and I'm sitting there, completely flustered, holding still as I as I do, uh, and um, and of course I haven't been able to tell you yet because you're this huge guy who always knows what's the right thing to say, or at least appears to.
I think Jack is like all smooth charisma with like very little substance behind it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, there is substance. Everyone has substance, but
But it runs thin a little later. Okay. Uh, and then Jake, what do you want to do for your second question?
Second question, I think I might ask um, Art, why do you secretly admire me?
Uh, uh, wh- what's like something you could tell me about your personality? I mean, I guess you're an outsider. Um,
Yeah, he's an outsider, but he pretends that he's super cool.
um, you don't let things bug you that other people would let bug them, I think.
I don't show it anyway. Yeah.
Right. And I think I take that as a, like a very positive attitude that everyone should have.
I like that. And then Art, what do you want to do for your second question?
Um, Second question is, tell me about a time when you saw me react to a threat before you knew it was happening. And I'll ask that of David, of Jake.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Tell me about a time when you saw me react to a threat before you knew it was happening.
Um, I'm not sure about this one. I think I like the idea that I don't know, you save someone's life or something like that.
Oh.
There's a girl crossing the road, and I
Mhm.
mean, I just probably froze, and you just reacted immediately and did just something incredibly cool. You didn't hesitate, and you just grabbed her. So I think you're the cool one.
Cool.
I dig it. And then Dennis, what do you want for your last one there?
Yeah. I'm thinking. Oh, I, I think. I think. Why did you come to me for advice recently? And unless someone else wants to, I was thinking of that for art.
That's fine. When did I come to you for advice? Huh, that's interesting. So you have when did I come to you for advice? I think, oh, you know what? I think I was trying to give you advice, but I was trying to do reverse psychology, and I was trying to pretend that there was someone I knew, like a friend, who, you know, maybe hasn't found their real purpose in life. And what you think to what should I say to that person kind of thing.
Excellent. Does that work for you, Dennis?
Yeah, that's great.
Uh, so uh we've got our characters. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the setup here. So if you look at the copy of setup tab there, it has some things we're going to work through. So we're in England, green and pleasant land. What do you think about where we ought to be? Are we on the moors? Are we in a dense forest? Are we by the edge of some boglands, peat bogs, very Hounds of the Baskervilles kind of set, or something else? Anyone have a strong feeling about that? Jake?
I would happily stick with the Moors. I would very much like to go full American Werewolf in London, please.
Okay, all right. Everyone okay with that? So
Yeah.
moors, fog, you're off the beaten path, a place where GPS has started to not work, and the answers and readings you're getting are questionable. So the question is, why have the group of you come to the moors for this trip? What has driven you here? Um, we've got some answers there, some suggestions. Any of those appeal to you, Art?
Let's see. Weekend trip, local legends, lost a friend, religious pilgrimage, hunting a long forgotten place for years, explorers. Um, which one of us is the filmmaker? That's Jake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's like a film that you would want to make in the moors? That
Yes,
might.
that would be perfect. Something like Blair Witch, but Blair Witch is so done, so it would be something much edgier than that.
Cool.
Of course.
So kind of dragging your friends along, maybe location scouting, maybe
Hmm.
getting some guerrilla
Yep.
footage in here. So it is kind of the weekend trip, but with some direction, some goal uh for that.
I think
Uh
Jack's hanging around because he wants to be the lead actor, but
Mhm.
maybe Jake isn't giving him the nod one way or the other.
uh I dig it. Uh but you've been out here for a while. Uh you know the little things have gone wrong. The path you're supposed to take has been worse than you thought. Maybe not quite the camping gear you wanted. There's all of that kind of rolling in. So tell me, Dennis, where is the group right now? When we're going to start out, like where are you at? Are you at a campsite? Are you, far away from where you need to get to? Are you, skirting the edge of something? Where do we find ourselves here right at the start?
Yeah, I think that we're we're all setting up to do some sort of like B-roll kind of, shooting. Maybe, yeah, something a bit atmospheric. And the fog has really, it's really come in. And so you can't see down, below the edge of the bit of land we're on, and there's nothing else. It's just the moor going out, and then this sudden drop in front of us, all shrouded in.
Excellent. And Jack, Uh, who has been irritating you the most since you got here, and what is it they're doing that is getting on Jack's nerves?
I think Jake, he's kind of bossing people around. He seems to have this vision, this auteur vision that he's going for. He seems to, you know, I continually ask and drop hints about being, the lead and potentially suggesting I can do an excellent death scene. I can be mutilated. I can act mutilated. It's fine. Um, but he doesn't seem to be wanting to even entertain the idea. I'm getting more and more frustrated. I'm like,
Uh,
why am I even coming? Why am I even here?
Absolutely. Uh, Jake, now you are in charge of this. You kind of directing this to your mind. Uh, but what has started to make you feel anxious? What has happened? What is going on here that started to kind of throw you off a little bit?
Well, I think first of all, he's just been planning this for so long. This is a really big deal, even though he's pretending it's just a kind of look, guys, we're going to do this thing. And people are just not doing what they're supposed to do. They're kind of arsing about and just being annoying and wandering off. And he wants to make his movie. So that on a personal level, that's what's really annoying him. Uh, on a bigger level, uh, yeah, maybe he's got a bad feeling. His cell phone's cut out. Technology's not been working properly. There you
Mhm.
go. And things keep cutting out. And I charged all the batteries up before we left, and everything was kind of sorted. But it's cameras are going dead.
And of the other three, which of them do you think like is aware that you're you are starting to get a little frazzled, a little thrown off?
I think probably Art can read me the best. I don't know that Jack or Dennis can, are as bothered now.
Okay. Uh Art, as you've been going along, moving through these moors and so on, uh, why do you keep falling behind?
Uh, why do I keep falling behind? Um, hmm, uh, yeah, I think I keep hearing someone uh like footsteps behind us, or I keep thinking I'm not the last person. Um, but then I realize I am.
Just the sounds of something moving. The fog eats both vision and it seems to eat sound as well, but yet you're hearing something there. And you do keep stopping, and then there's that moment where you have to rush because they start fading into the fog if they get too far away. Uh Dennis, what was your first hint here that something wasn't quite right on this trip, in this place where you're at?
Those goddamn batteries. Jake said that he charged them. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But, you know, they shouldn't discharge this quickly. All right. I know my batteries. I've worked with this camera and this sound equipment a whole bunch of times with Jake before, and I've never seen the batteries drain this quickly. And there's all this static and feedback that is happening in the sound. Like, I'm very particular about my microphones, about my setup. I I'm very frustrated that I'm getting this terrible sound out of what is good equipment.
Yeah. I think that the fact that it's affecting cell phones and other things that you have is starting to worry you. Uh uh Jake, who are you kind of now that you're kind of feeling a little frazzled, even though you're director, who are you kind of looking to maybe have a little bit of guidance here, maybe to kind of maybe help you take the lead, or maybe you'd like to have them, you know, i- like support your direction here.
Probably Dennis actually. I mean, I think Dennis is a dark, uh, but I kind of, when no one else is around, I kind of turn to him like, "What do we do, Dennis?" Because he tends to know the answers.
Excellent. Uh Art, uh who do you think knew that something was going to go wrong here? Who of the other three do you have the sense that maybe they had a little bit of intuition or a little bit sense that this is a weird experience, a weird place?
I think uh I think I think I think Jack thinks we should have filmed it somewhere else rather than out in the wilderness.
And you think it's deeper than just a concern about having to go all the way out here on the moors? Maybe they know something. Is there a reason why? Are you suspicious in that way?
Yeah, I get a sense that Jack had a really bad camping trip at some point, and
That's what they
he's
say.
that's what he yeah.
Okay. Uh, Jack, uh, on your way here, came up in a van, you parked it, and grabbed your equipment and started walking and making your way here. On the way from there to where you're at right now on the moors, uh, what what happened? What thing did you see? What did you encounter that put you on edge?
So we're walking along, and it's quite open at first, but as we're getting further and further towards, like Jake is insisting that we this situation, this environment isn't quite right. We need to move forward and around and up and over heels, and suddenly we've found ourselves in this kind of almost top of a hill where the fog mist is kind of surrounding us and we can't really see or hear anything. And as we're kind of as he's doing his kind of mumbo jumbo filmy stuff, you know, doing all this, whatever that means, um, I'm seeing in the mist evidence that something has moved, like the mist is shifting. I haven't seen anything, but the mist, whereas in most of the surrounding area, it's quite still and
Hmm.
static. Every now and again I see it kind of seemingly move, indicating that something moved, but whenever I look there, I can't see it.
The shift of density, the swirls of the
Yeah,
fog,
swirl,
that
yeah.
wind. Okay.
hmm
Uh, I like that. So we got our sense of where we're at. We're going to set up two kind of obstacles now. These are things that are kind of issues that are out there. Uh, the first of these is something has just gone wrong there. And this is one of those ones that we can choose together. Uh, Someone else who came with you has gone missing. You've completely lost contact with the outside world. Uh, you can't leave without finishing the job you came to do. You decide to take a shortcut that turned out not to be a shortcut. the weather has turned bad and you're going to seek shelter, or you've just found a dead body. Um, any of those striking or particularly appealing?
I think we've mentioned several of these already.
Mm-hmm.
Lost contact to the outside world, we've already mentioned. The
Yeah.
weather has turned bad.
So we've already got those as kind of background, but
Yeah.
any of the other
So
ones that are appealing as a just recently happened thing?
I quite like the you decided to take a shortcut that wasn't so much a shortcut, and why can't you just go back now?
who's the person in charge of the map that we can all blame now?
I think that's Jake, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I know this place. I mean, I've been out here a few times, so I know it.
so when you find yourselves on like in the moors, have hit there's a rise of some land, like maybe there was some kind of rise or hill that's kind of collapsed down, and there's a a gorge, like just a rent there that goes down a ways. Um, why is it you can't just kind of, okay, let's turn around and come back the way we came? What is what is keeping you all from that, you think?
I mean,
I
I'd
don't
say
think we
it's
know which way we came
yeah,
from. I think
Okay.
we turn around and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got
Um,
some features here, but everything has
yeah.
gotten confused. And this
Mhm.
gorge really shouldn't be here, given what you know of the map and where you are, which means you're way, way off course from where you're supposed to be.
and it's
Uh,
foggy and
mm,
it's potentially dangerous if we fall down the gorge. So
yeah. And I mean, this is the only landmark we can really see, right?
yeah.
We've we've got to work out which gorge this is, and then we might have some idea of how to get back.
I dig that. Uh, it does suggest that with a mystery that also needs to be solved. Let me throw a few of these work. I think given what we've seen, this is basically which one we think is most interesting to kind of have in play to figure out. Your phone's rate as walkie-talkies keep picking up a strange signal. Uh, there are dark figures moving at the edge of your vision that seem to be following you. Uh, your compass has started to malfunction. You don't know which way is north, or what are the strange noises you keep hearing? Any of those grabbers for anyone? I would like to suggest we've got those strange figures. We've already suggested some motion in the fog, in the mist there. Um,
do we choose something else then?
it's up to you. We can lean into that one if you'd like. Uh,
Yeah.
so you've seen that motion then, Jack. You've had that sense of things
I mean,
moving,
it's just the wind.
right?
It's just the
Uh,
wind.
as you're there at that gorge, and maybe you're hearing the wind, it has to be the wind kind of coming up from the gorge. There's weird, weird sound coming up. And you definitely see some figures, maybe a little ways up the hill that are there. What what is it? Is it one figure? Is it multiple figures, Jake?
I think we could go multiple figures,
Okay.
just out of interest. Yeah.
Yeah. So several figures moving. You maybe thought you saw something like an animal, like maybe there were, foxes or something else on the moors before, but now these things bigger than that, multiples of them, and we see you kind of there. We're going to take our first break here. We're going to take 10 and we're going to come back at that exact moment. So usually my first break is 10 minutes. So we'll go to a quarter after, and then we'll come back and get rolling.
Thank you.
So fog around, kind of light mist, no sense of where you are. There's a gorge over there. There's kind of a rise, a hillside that's kind of collapsed. You can kind of just make that out. It's more of a shape than it is any details there ahead in the fog. And these things back behind you, these shapes, multiple shapes, now not just wisps and such, but actual like silhouettes, maybe. And of course, you've all got your gear of various kinds, the camera gear, your camping gear, all of this. So you are a little weighed down. Uh, and uh, Rod, sorry, Art, uh, what do you do when you hear the sound from the gorge change? Like the howling of that wind gets stronger and starts to now sound like several winds. Could it be voices? Could it be something? You're not sure. So what do you do, Rod? What do you do, Art?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
like I snapped to Jake. And are you recording this? This is like perfect for the movie. Uh, the wind. This almost sounds like voices.
Yeah, I hear it. Do you know, I just think it's just some folk out there messing with us. And I'll walk into the fog and start shouting, "Hey, who's there?"
I'll try it with you.
Okay. So the two of you will move forward, shouting at these things. Um, uh, and I think as you walk, these things are kind of falling backwards, a bit here. Uh, Dennis, Jack, as these two, grab up their things and start going towards these figures, what do you do?
Um, I'm kind of stumbling along behind, head down, looking at the meter on my microphone, trying to make sense of the levels that I'm getting through it, but not really paying too much attention to anything else apart from I know that two people have walked off, so I should probably follow them.
Okay. Jack?
I'm grabbing Dennis by the arm, by the shoulder. I can see, in his geeky nerdom, he's distracted, he's looking down, he's not really looking where he's going. These two have wandered off, started shouting. Um, so I'm like, we gotta stick together, man. We gotta stick together. I'm gonna drag him along.
Okay.
Uh,
So you following behind, Art, David, can I have one of you uh, make the appropriate roll to notice the drop off that they've kind of led you to? Who wants to of the two of you wants to be the person for that? Dave, Jake has shaked his head. So Art, that naturally puts you in the hot seat
Oh,
there.
sure.
Uh,
Jake is still shouting, "We can see you. No point in hiding.
uh,
Not funny."
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Art, what do you think is appropriate role for like detecting that drop off coming up here?
yeah, I don't know. What
Uh,
would be
Track, scout, study.
I have zero in all of them, so
Uh,
it doesn't.
so we start with one die.
Okay.
Uh, if Now here, let's talk about the dice pool. Now, at this point, there are a couple of ways to get more dice. Uh, Jake could help you by marking a point of fear, and they would give you an extra die. And then you could get an extra die by marking either two fear, or you could give yourself a bonus die by spinning a story, telling us something from that list of things.
Uh, I'll spin a story.
Okay. So tell us a story here.
6 on the local street. Weird thing that happened to whether town place without rest. Oh, do you ever run out of spinning stories? Like if you, or can you just always?
What it is you'll mark each one as you use them.
Mhm.
And there is a space for something of your own invention. And then you can go back and do a previously used one again, but I get more myth points.
And myth points are what you use against us.
My additional currency, my additional moves currency, yes.
All right. I'm gonna say that we did see some. Oh, no. Is this a story that we've experienced or just something that we've heard?
It's up to you. You can tell us something you've heard, you can tell us something you've seen on the way here, something you've read.
Right. Uh, I think we saw some tracks. And what was unusual about them were that uh, uh, where they fell, like the vegetation died, um, while the rest, the rest of the or
Okay.
surrounding area was fine.
Weird kind of burnt blackening to the vegetation as we go along. Okay. Uh, so you will get an extra die for that. Uh, Jake, do you want to spend a fear to help him out?
Yeah, I think despite my bravado, I'm getting a little bit freaked out by the whole situation.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy to spend a fear.
Absolutely. So that gives you 3 dice, Art. I should
Cool.
probably pull up my roller, shouldn't I? We do have a link to the roller on the safety tab, but you're also welcome to roll your own dice at home.
All right. Uh,
Double
ah,
sixes. So
cool.
what is it that brings you up like to realize that suddenly that the 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 ground is about to like drop out below you? Like there's a steep drop. How did you spot that?
Oh, I think as we were walking, a little, like a pebble got kicked forward ahead of us, but I didn't hear it stop. I just heard it went forward and uh oh, maybe I did hear it, like, but is below us.
Okay.
So
That
I grabbed
yeah,
his arm. Yeah.
that seemed to drop. And I think Jake, Art, you'll find yourself there's about a 10-foot drop here down to some rocks down below, and then the moors kind of continue on. You're not sure how those figures they kind of faded back. How is it that they did that and they didn't fall here? But you put your arm out, Art, and stop Jake from that tumbling down into there.
And I give a little laugh and I say, "Well, that was close."
Uh, uh, Jack, you'll see them come to an abrupt stop ahead of you. You kind of holding on to Dennis there.
I'd just be like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you guys okay? Beware, there's going to be a cliff somewhere, isn't there?"
Yeah, we're fine. We just got turned around for a second. There's
Yeah.
someone's messing with us.
Can I see them? Can I still see them? Or they
You can
gone?
still see those figures. They've moved back. They're kind of still staying at the edge of things.
I mean, they're just
I'm
standing.
gonna,
There just must be another, another cliff on the other side, right? They just must be standing on that.
I'm gonna cup my hands around my voice because everyone knows that it just magnifies your voice,
Right?
and I'm gonna say, "Stop fucking around! It's
And
not clever."
I think it gets quiet for a second. And then you'll hear and Jack,
Yeah.
you will see a significantly sized rugby ball-sized stone come whipping out of the fog at you. And you're going to get
Whoa.
hit. I'm spending another myth point
Okay.
for a level 1 harm now. Since she's gonna crack you across the skull.
Okay.
You can, if you wish, resist that. Whenever you take potential consequences or things, you can do a resistance roll. And in this case, you would roll your either your dots with nerve or your dots with luck there. So you have 1 with nerve. We look in that first column, and 3 with luck. So luck's probably a better bet there. And what
Yeah.
it is
Okay.
you'll roll those 3 dice. You, as soon as you say you resist it, you're not going to take the consequence, but we see how much fear you're going to mark.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and resist. So it hits me, right?
Yep.
3d6. Oh dear.
Okay. So you're going to mark 3 fear.
Okay.
And basically with that the luck resisting it, you kind of like step out of the way at the last moment as this thing smacks in and buries itself in the ground just behind you. What do you do?
I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm gonna look around at the others. I'm gonna look at the size of this stone, which if it's a rugby ball and it's a stone and it's been lobbed from that distance, my eyes are just gonna go wide. Like this is shot put kind of this is like Olympian level athleticism going on here.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna be dumb. I'm just gonna point at the stone with my eyes wide at the others, and just I'm not able to even communicate.
Jack, what are you doing? Like, of course they're going to throw things at you, yelling in the middle of the forest, the mist at people, telling them to screw off. Come on, man, we
People should
calm
just have a
down.
sense of humor. Come on.
Sometimes
I'm
you
gonna
just
go
take it
over
too
to the
far.
rock. I'm gonna try and lift it up.
Can I film it and even on my phone? And I'm saying, Jack, that was amazing. Can you do that face again, please?
Ah,
Which one? The or
Like
the
absolutely terrified, absolutely terrified. Amazing. Yeah.
it's
this is
it's heavy.
this is
Like you can
this
pick it up, but just barely.
guys. I mean, what the fuck? This is try and lift this up. Oh, you're probably not going to be able to. Look, it's really heavy. I'm really struggling. Someone threw this from that far away?
Well, I mean,
What the fuck
maybe
is
they were
going on?
closer or something. Like the fog is pretty thick. Very hard to see anything.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, sure, sure. See, my mind went to catapults, but hey,
So as Jake, I know you're kind of filming this, watching this, getting the shots in here. Dennis, what are you doing as you see this lobbed rock? Those figures are still there, but now they're starting to move. Looks like they're kind of breaking in different directions.
Uh, Dennis at this point hasn't really clued into that this is all a bit weird. He's had his head down too much, and and his normal mode of operation is sort of like trying to not be noticed. When walking along rowdy Newcastle streets or something.
Okay.
Um, and so this is sort of like his normal heads down, don't be noticed sort of situation at this point. It hasn't
Okay.
really dawned on him that.
Yeah. So just keeping yourself steady, tight in here, not moving to look around, just kind of keeping yourself there. Okay. Jake, what about you? Art managed to save you from going over that ledge, but you have this
And
really cool effect that just happened.
yeah, I'm both a little freaked out, but kind of enjoying it at the moment. And I'm thinking that this might be a better movie footage than what I had. I mean, I had this whole art house horror thing I was going to do, but this might, some found footage stuff would be amazing. So yeah, I'm going to suggest that we, you know, let's keep filming, guys. I mean, this is what we came for, isn't it? We get some good footage. It's going to look amazing. I mean, I don't know what shit's going on out there. I think someone's messing with us, but it looks cool as anything. So I want to get a picture. I want to see those silhouettes again. Um, yeah, maybe we should keep moving.
Now that they've split into a couple of different, like split off into different sets, do you want to try and follow one of those groups, Jake?
Let's split up.
Well,
Well, there's only one camera though.
Oh, use your phone. It's fine.
Yeah, you're not going to get good footage in this with your phone, and we know that the batteries are running down super quick.
Yeah, but we don't want good footage. We want it to be really messed up, shaky cam, grainy stuff. It's going to freak people the hell out. It's going to be awesome.
Mm, well, I mean, I agree. I think we should go and chat to some of these people because they might know the way back to camp, right? Um, we're completely lost. So I don't want to be stuck out here for the night or whatever.
Hold on, can you just say that again?
getting that on footage. It is getting late. There is a little bit of the light beginning to fade here, but that's probably even better for your footage. These things are moving away, and you see them start to kind of like vanish as they fall back at a distance there. So
I'm just gonna mutter very quietly. Yeah, good riddance. You go. Yeah, fuck off.
No,
I'm
we
gonna
should follow
kick the
them.
rock a little just to just to test one more time just how heavy that thing is.
oh yeah, it's heavy.
I think we should follow them because like they might lead us back to the road, or we could talk to them and they could tell us where to go. I think we should follow
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, let's
that's
follow them, but let's not talk to them until we see them from afar. And because they're jerks, obviously. They're throwing stuff at us, and who
Well,
knows?
I think the rock came from that direction, so why don't we follow the ones in over there?
It's like,
Okay.
okay.
So this feels like maybe track to try and follow. Who wants to kind of take lead on doing that?
Oh, that
Dennis.
that I kind of
Okay.
set myself up for that a bit. I think.
Yeah. So you've got
Um,
one base die,
yeah.
and you've got a die for having a dot in track. So you've got two dice there. Um, you can get help if somebody wants to mark fear, or you can get a bonus die if you want to spend two fear or spin a story.
I thought I might spin a story.
Okay.
And they're all juicy, aren't they? Uh, so, um, the abandoned property a few miles from here, and the people rumored to have once lived there. Um, so there. Am I doing this regaling the peeps around me, or is this just like a step back, tell a story, and then come back into the action?
You can do it either way. You can do it kind of as a flashback or something you're telling them right now.
Um, I'll just talk. So there was this abandoned, well, now abandoned. There's this there was this stone cottage um, out here on the moors near to where we first arrived, and it's the typical sort of like 2-room stone cottage, people, animals in one room during the winter to keep everyone warm and all of that sort of stuff. Um, and there was this surprisingly large family who used to live in it. And like there were a couple of parents, but like 6 or 7 children, and for such a tiny little cottage, and in these relatively modern times, that was a quite a surprising situation. Um, Unfortunately, the parents had an accident while farming, and social services had to come along and take the seven children away. And so the cottage has been abandoned. But those seven children are rumored to come to the moor, to back to their land as such, quite regularly, skiving off school and this sort of stuff. Um, because it's not really very nice being looked after by social services.
Nice. So that gives you 3 dice for this track.
So I will get that away.
So that is a 6. So you've chosen one of these figures. Didn't look like the one that necessarily threw the stone. And you're kind of following them back. And the rise of this, we'll realize that they're kind of heading up that hill. And you will follow behind. And as it gets to the top of this hill, you'll realize that the fog opens up a little bit. And you can see that while that figure is gone, you're at what looks like the ruins of a burned out house. Uh, uh, Not the stone cottage you mentioned, but like a bigger house that maybe was here that caught fire. You can see the burnt lumber, the grounds of it. Part of the house, like, must have overlooked that gorge because the cliffside is kind of given way, and so there's a part of it that has slid down the side of that. What do you do, Dennis?
Um, Jake, but I don't remember this on any of the maps. What what's this place?
I don't know. I think I've heard of this place. There's a couple of these abandoned houses up here, but it's absolutely friggin' awesome. So I think we're gonna need to get some footage of this if you guys, don't mind. Jack, can you carry some of the camera stuff, please?
Did anyone
Sure, sure.
did anyone see where the guy went? Like, we followed him up here and came to this house, but I can't see where he is.
Either he clambered into the rubble and the ruins, or it's a dangerous slide down, but went down that cliff edge.
Where do you want this, Jake? Are we going in?
Yeah, let's set it up outside. We'll get some exteriors and then
Okay,
we'll maybe get something on the inside.
okay. You gotta start laying things out.
Okay. Hauling things, getting things set. Art, what are you doing as they're getting the camera work set up? Dennis is kind of looking around.
I think I'll walk around the burnt house as well. Check it out.
Okay. You looking for something? What are you trying to do here? Trying to figure out where they went, or
Yeah,
okay.
I think there were, yeah, maybe that guy's here somewhere, or the figure is here.
I think you will see some of those tracks that you saw before on the way up here, where there are patches of grass, and those have died. And it looks like this. It's almost like a crossroads for these tracks. Like like this is some kind of hub for these people? Question mark.
Huh. I'm gonna warn my friends that we might get company if it seems like they walk here around often.
Jack's going to hear that, and after he's laid the things down, he's going to, without telling the others, start trying to look through the debris to see whether there's anything that he can, like a club, some sort of implement, because that rock hurt. That rock was big. These guys are probably jerks. I know jerks. They need to be confronted with force. So I'm gonna surreptitiously try and find something that I can, slam into my open palm if people come close.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like in amongst the burnt wood and things here, you can find a piece of lumber that's scorched but relatively, still intact, a little less exposed to the elements. Is clearly whatever happened to this house happened decades ago. And but you'll get a nice stout stick that makes you probably feel a lot more comfortable with this
Yeah.
situation.
And I'll walk back over to Art to kind of, you know, let him show me where the tracks are and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I
and
know
I think
where
it's
people might come from.
I think as we're walking, I'll ask, have you heard from Jim?
Oh, blindside me. Art, come on, man. I thought we were trying to get away from things. Yeah,
Right.
he's uh, I mean, on one hand, he's as great as he ever was, but I'm
All
just
right.
not it. He's fallen into like smoking crowd, is constantly smoking. I'm just not into that, man. I've got my athletics, and I need to, keep my body trim, and he just wants to lounge around. And you guys seem to have a little bit more focus in life. That's I like that. I like that. Not like good focus like sports, but you have some focus, which I guess is good.
Oh, see, like, yeah, everything works out for the best, like I said.
Yeah, maybe I should have a conversation when we get back home. I don't know. I think I don't like it. It's gonna be ugly. Oh, I
Right.
don't like it.
Jake,
Maybe I'll put it off.
Jake, you've got your camera stuff up. Again, it's still not working great. You've got your phone out. What is it that you're trying to do? Jack and Art are kind of walking the perimeter, looking around. What are you doing?
I want to get some nice, just grainy shots of the outside of this. This is really very much his cup of tea. An abandoned building that's kind of half burnt out. So yeah, he's very excited about that. He's getting some exterior shots. I think he says, guys, I mean, I don't know, have you seen the 1960s horror movie, Italian? Um, something about some Italian name about a murdered mother. Mamma mia, murder Ariel.
Mama
And
Morte, Mama Morte.
Mama
There we go.
Morte. God, yeah, you're full of surprises, Jack. You do know it? Seriously?
My mom was Italian, so she tried to educate me with all these like foreign films, but like reading just takes a lot of effort.
Well,
I,
there's this ex there's this
there's going to
exact
be the
scene.
seventh Avengers movie out next summer. I'm
No,
so
no,
looking
no, no.
forward to that.
Forget about all the Avengers crap. And we're talking about the real deal. We're talking about real life meets horror. Look at this place. This is exact same scene when the girl goes into the house. Check it out. Um, and I
Shall
think
we?
I'll
Do
start going
you want me to go in
into.
the house and check it out? Okay, I'll
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
I,
we're going in the house.
I was
Look,
going to
you
say,
go first.
I wander off
I,
towards the house.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll film you. You go in.
Okay. So
I,
it's mostly like this is a 2 or 3 story house that burnt down. It's piles of wood. I mean, there is some standing walls, so there is some space to move into. The two of you will go start to move to look around to poke your nose in there. Dennis, as they start moving to explore this ruined house, what are you doing?
So I was going to say cut to Dennis in the house looking around like the
Sure.
um like the final girl that was just mentioned, studying the house to try and sort of work out. um I think he's more interested in sort of what's going on in the house rather than necessarily tracking down the person, because he doesn't know this house. He doesn't remember it from the maps. There are these mysterious people walking around. If he found out a little bit more, then he might be able to work out where they are, and then get them all back.
Absolutely. So this feels like study because you are
Hmm.
moving into a place that is a little precarious, a little bit dangerous, kind of going around. So right now you're standing at 3 dice.
I am. Um, I think I will just leave it at 3 dice.
Okay.
See how it goes. All right, just grab my. I will do. One, two. Oh, boom. There we are.
So
Fine.
that is a 5. So I think that you will kind of make your way in. There's clearly some kind of basement that the wooden floor is there. It's a little bit tricky, and it looks like to get further in, you're going to have to kind of make a hop and kind of separate yourself out from the others to press forward. If you're okay with that,
Yes.
okay. And I think you'll get in, make a hop, and you'll find yourself on a set of stone stairs that go down into a basement. You can hear the dripping of water. It's dark down there. Um, and you cannot see anybody else, and they have no idea where you are. Do you want to proceed downwards?
I mean, I do. Does Dennis?
That is the question.
um, I think it still hasn't completely. I think Dennis still hasn't quite grokked onto things quite yet, and he's going to get his phone out and put the flashlight on and just sort of and look down. Yeah, go down into the cellar,
Okay.
which is sort of the only bit of the house that is still sort of sound.
Yeah, fair. It looks seems like it's structurally sound.
Mm.
Surely it is. We're going to come back to you in just a second. Uh, Art, are you joining Jake and Alex going into the house, or are you still circling the perimeter?
I will go with my friends.
Okay. Uh, so with cudgel in hand, are you taking the lead, Jack?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah. I'm kind of using it to kind of uh, lift things to, see whether there's anything interesting underneath, kind of falling debris. Check whether, maybe there's like some old timbers that were kind of recently part of that were originally part of like the first floor.
Okay. I think this is a
And
little bit.
I'm gonna jab them to see whether they're okay to walk under.
I think this is you're less about trying to find things and more about like trying to, do this without bringing the whole place down on you.
Yeah,
So let's have you roll risk.
risk. Okay, so
So
that's one,
1 plus a base dice, you get 2 dice standing right now.
2 dice. Uh, yeah, I'm just looking at my stories.
Sure.
Uh, I'll just do two.
Okay.
Just I'll leave it for now. Okay, 2d6. Ugh, man. 1 and a 3.
Yes. So you will uh step forward. You're kind of walking with this, and you're pushing on sort of the upper parts. And there is a moment where you push on something, and as you pull it back, this section comes crashing down. And this whole, like, maybe quarter of this house that you're by just absolutely collapses in. And you're going to take harm, um,
Okay.
and you are cut off from Jake and Art.
Excellent.
Do you wish to resist that harm? You can if you wish, or you can mark that harm.
So the first time with the stone, I resisted the harm. Is that right?
Yep, you didn't
I
take
took
it.
fear instead.
Yep,
Okay. And so, um, if I try and resist it again, do I take more fear?
yes, potentially, unless you roll really well.
And what happens when I max out my fear?
Well, you've got three
Shall we
conditions
see?
called trauma, angry, reckless, and soft. You will choose one of those to be your guiding principle going forward, and you'll clear your
Sounds like
trauma.
fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. I'll avoid the harm and take more fear.
Yeah. So this feels like you're
Oh
resisting
well,
this.
I go wrong.
Yeah. So you don't take harm. Basically, it doesn't happen. Let's have you roll. I think this is nerve for this. This feels like a more of a physical
Hmm.
consequence. So
Okay.
roll me
One.
one d6. So
Oh
that is
man. Jesus.
5 fear that you're going to mark.
Okay. I am. I'm getting up there.
Yeah. I imagine that you're knocked
One,
down,
two, three, four, five.
and there is like a section of a board that we see it coming down giallo style towards your face, and you kind of move yourself aside, and it jabs right in where your eye would have been.
Yeah. And
And
there's like some rusty nails like sticking out.
yeah,
I.
hold yourself very still there. Um, uh, Jake, Rod, uh, Jack was a little ways ahead of you. Then this section of the house comes crashing down. You find yourself having to stumble back, back towards the entryway. You don't see where Jack is at. You have no idea where Dennis is at, and you start hearing outside the house some sounds. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna shout for Jack first of all. I'll keep filming. I'm gonna keep the camera going, but I'm gonna shout, Jack, Jack.
You're shouting. There's still more of the sound of the kind of the crunching of the house. He's not calling back immediately.
I'm gonna turn the camera around onto Art's face.
Um, I just kind of give you a I don't know what I'm gonna run to the I'm not gonna leave the house or whatever's still standing of it, but I
Okay.
am gonna look out a window or a hole to
Okay.
where the sounds came from.
Rush back towards sort of like a frame for a doorway, peer out. It's gotten darker out, and the fog is up higher, and there are several of these figures now kind of moving widdershins counterclockwise around the outside of the house.
I count how many or about how many.
4?
Uh, I run back to shoot, I run back to Jake. Yeah, there's like about four of these people. Were they just like walking or running or
I would say the speed is walking, but their gait is very unusual.
right?
I'll say I'll keep the camera on art, and I'll say, what are the art?
What was that?
What are they?
I can't tell. It was they were still far enough away. And
Where's Dennis art? Where's Dennis?
uh, wasn't he outside?
I don't know. Okay, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna.
cut.
Okay. Dennis, I'm going to come back to you here. You are in the basement, and you're feeling okay, it's fairly secure here, fairly safe, but then there is this woof from up above, and of course, some wood and debris comes falling down, and then there's this cloud of dust as all of that gets knocked, and the whole sort of upstairs shakes. Uh, and you're moving your camera around. That sort of not concrete, but earthen basement floor, like very old style, wet. There are mushrooms down here. Water is clearly leaked through. Uh, it looks like maybe there were shelves for wine, for jarred things. Those have all rotted and given way, and those bottles and jars and things have crashed to the ground, and there's bits of broken glass all through that, and you will see that in the middle of the floor here is a big metal door, like iron, steel, you're not sure. Like it's a substantial door. There is a one of those big round rings on it to kind of lift it up, but it's in the floor. It must be some sort of subcellar or something. What do you want to do?
Oh, Dennis is very much the curiosity got the cat.
Okay.
This is too interesting for him. That's all he can think about. He's not even going to check whether the entrance that he came down has been blocked. He's not thinking about calling out to Jack or Art or Jake. He's just like, wow, this is out of place. I got to know what's underneath it.
And yeah, you want to try and lift it up?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, I think that you have to lean into this uh quite a bit and are pulling on it. Let's have you roll scavenger risk to get this door open, I think. I think this thing is a significant obstacle
Yeah.
right now.
So maybe I'm scavenging some stuff to use as a lever or something on that big iron ring to try and pull it up using science.
Okay.
Um, and because it's fun, I might also push myself. So that's 2 dice plus
Okay.
well, not push myself, sorry, spin a story. Um, so this land that we are on, I read a lot of books, I do a lot of studying, and I've read many of the stories, and there's a particularly tragic one where there was a serf and his flock of sheep that he ran on his lord's um, countryside, and the serf was happily married, um, but one day the lord comes along and ends up killing his wife, and the serf can't do anything about that. He's the lord. He's the law, as it were, and so um, because he can't directly attack the lord, he ends up he kills his entire flock of sheep. And he does it uh, just on the hillside, just above the Lord's manor. And all the blood from the sheep runs down the hill and makes a small moat around the Lord's manor. And then because he's got nothing else, nothing to live for now, the serf shepherd kills himself as well.
Oof. So that is 3 dice.
Yes.
Get this open, and pulled up, and there's a wind that comes up from this thing, blows up out of it, and that sound, that wind that you heard in the gorge, that sound comes up out of this, and it looks like there's very crude steps kind of carven that seem to go downwards, and you're guessing head down towards the gorge from here. And you would expect them to be fairly barren, but there are a lot of muddy tracks on these steps. Weird, inhuman tracks. Jack, kind of in another part of this ruined house, you've managed to avoid being crushed, but you're kind of separated, and you're there, and you will hear. Sounds like there must be some kind of wild animal in here with you.
Oh shit. Uh,
Like,
is it completely dark?
yeah, it's completely dark in here. No light. It's dark outside, and you're mostly hearing like snuffling.
Oh, shit. Uh, I'm gonna try and be still as possible. Complete darkness. I'm gonna try and move I'm assuming I'm standing already.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and move my feet around because I must have dropped my club
Mm-hmm.
in the dive in to get out of the way of the falling ceiling. I must have dropped it somewhere. I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to kind of move my feet around to kind of knock into it and then grab it. I'm trying to be as quiet as possible because I don't
That
like dogs. This better not be a dog.
so uh this feels like you're trying to stay still, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. I have
let
nothing in that. That's fine.
so you get 1 base die.
Okay. Maybe I'll spin a story this time.
Okay.
Uh, okay. A deep sickness in the land. So, I was hanging out with Jim and some of his smoking buddies, and there was like a there was like a hippie environmentalist there who was talking about, how, in some traditions there's this idea that, if something goes wrong in the land, that wrongness becomes a personification. And he was talking about how we're kind of eroding our heritage and our countryside, and too much tourism, lots of industry pollution, and he was just going on this kind of smoke-addled rant about how cool it must be, or how weird and freaky it must be if there was like this personification of a kind of pollution and natural illness, and that's triggering back my memory of what Art said about those tracks that we found up on the top of the hill just 15-20 minutes ago. And yeah, that's going through my mind.
Okay. So that is 2 dice that you are rolling here.
2d6. Come on. Yes, at least one success. 5.
So the good news is you'll
Yeah.
realize that it isn't a dog.
Oh, that's good.
The bad news is you realize that whatever it is human sized, and that snuffling is coming from about the height of where your head is. So there is a thing that is moving around in here, and you hear it stop. And I think while it doesn't see you, here's the minor consequence. It does
Hmm.
smell your fear.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of that.
Yeah. So yeah. And I think that you will feel just for a second, maybe on one of your arms, just this barest like touch of a muzzle or something on your forearm. And it's wet. And then it licks you.
Ah,
We'll come back to you in just one moment.
sure.
Uh uh Jake, you still don't know where Dennis is. You still don't know where Jack is. But Art's told you that there are these figures, out in the fog. What do you want to do?
I'll say, Art, I know there's smoke in the fog, but we got to find Jack and Dennis. Look, I'm worried about Jack. Let's try and get through the rubble and see if we can find him because something might have happened.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I start
Yeah. Well,
helping you.
do you want to go around the back and look for Dennis, and I'll try and dig through the rubble and see if I can see where Jake ended up. Sorry, where Jack ended up.
Art?
Do we want to split up? I mean, we're already split up as it is.
Yeah, just saying. I mean, I don't know what happened to Dennis. Someone's got to find him.
Yeah, fine, fine. If anything happens, yell, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
same to you. I mean, it'll be fine. I think it's fine.
So you want to find your way to where Dennis went down, Art? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, where I last saw him.
He went in the house. You didn't see where he went. So I think this could be study, it could be track, it could be risk. I'm good with any of those.
Oh, we'll play to my strength and go with risk.
Okay, so you kind of pushing a little more, muscling through, trying to get through, jumping from over gaps and getting there. Okay, so that's 3 dice.
Cool. Uh, I'll stick with that.
Okay.
4.
So there is a moment at which you make a jump over a broken space, and then you go right through the floor across. And you go crashing down into the basement where Dennis is. But there is that moment when you hit, and you are going to be driving a piece of wood through your thigh.
Ow.
For a level 2 harm, unless you would like to resist to reduce that down.
Remind me how to resist.
So resist means right now it's a level 2 harm. If you want to bump it down to a level 1 harm, you can resist that. You can roll with nerve or luck, and you roll 3 dice. We take the highest of those and subtract that from 6, and that's how much fear you take. And then you
Wow.
don't get hurt.
All right. So yeah, well, I definitely want to resist.
Okay.
I mean, there's no no downside to resisting, right?
There is no doubt. Well, we're using up your fear is the downside, but
All right. Okay. Uh,
roll with luck and let's see what happens. So three
all right.
dice.
6.
Six, you take no fear, and you do manage to reduce that down. What do you want to call that injury? Did you bang your arm instead, or do you just take a cut from the wood? What do you think?
Uh, 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 Maybe I hit my head, have a
Okay,
little
yeah,
concussion.
just boom,
Yeah.
hit the floor there, kind of laid out, and we'll come to Dennis here in just a second. But first, Jake. How is it? You've heard Art take off,
Mhm.
getting to the back of this burnt out house. Uh, you're not hearing anything from Jack. Are you just kind of start pulling things away to get through this, or are you going to try and find a cleverer way around? What do you think? You going to
Um,
go outside and try and find another way in?
yeah, I mean, if the way's blocked forward and I can't, I'm not going to dig through a whole pile of rubble. So I think I'll keep shouting and I'll maybe head back out and see if there's another way in, basically.
Absolutely. Study or scout?
Ah, okay, hold on. I have got study, 2 dice.
Okay. So base one plus two dice. There's three dice you're looking at.
Nice one. Okay. Um, yeah, I think I'll just roll it. Hold on.
Okay.
Bear with me. And what? Hold on.
That appears to be three ones, if I'm correct in reading that. I think that you will run outside to try and because you're kind of remembering how the wall was and where it fell. I think if you go around the side and get in there, maybe you can come around the back way. And I think as you get out there, and it's dark out, like it's darker than you thought. The fog is eating up any kind of starlight or moonlight, and immediately you are tackled and grabbed, uh, smacked to the ground. So we've got two potential consequences that you can resist. One is the level one harm.
Mhm.
The other one is being grabbed and held by these things. You can resist one or both.
And to resist, what am I rolling with again?
So
Sorry.
for this, it feels like probably nerve for resist, and
Yeah,
you'd be rolling two dice.
yeah.
And we subtract the highest result from six, and that's how much fear you take.
Okay.
And you've got plenty of fear.
Exactly. I'm fine.
Exactly. You're losing money
Um,
not spending it.
so yeah, I think I'll resist both, and we'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Yeah. So which one do you want to start with?
I will start with the harm. So level one harm.
Okay.
Uh,
Two
so sorry,
dice.
how many dice did I get?
Two.
Is that two? Two.
Yep.
Oh, I'll need to take a couple of dice off. Cool.
So you're going to take two fear from that.
Okay, no problem.
And then to get away so they don't grab onto you is
Yeah.
another two dice.
Okay, here we go.
And that's another fear. So three fears. That's not bad
Three,
at all.
three fear. I'll take it.
Yeah, you are outside. You've not found a way to Jack, and there are these things around you. You've managed to squirm out of their grasp and keep them from like knocking you down. But you are outside, isolated by yourself, and there are a pack of these things.
Okay, I'm crapping myself now.
Yeah. Uh let me come.
Are you still filming?
Do you know, I think I am just by kind of habit. I'm just holding on to it.
Right.
And, yeah.
think we get a little shot of the shaky cam
Yeah.
vision there.
Mhm.
Let's come to Dennis and then we'll come back to Jack. Dennis, you've got this door open, the wind howls through, and then Art comes crashing out through the floor above.
Which is great because I was just about to start wanting to, get in touch with people, but I see him crash through and knock his head and narrowly evade that great big splinter of wood. Um, and I rush over and it's like, Art, are you okay? Do you feel all right?
Yeah, I think we're okay, but I don't know where Jack is. Part of the house fell down. He's on the other side. He
Oh, I
could be
feel bad.
underneath.
I mean, it seems to be quite solid down here, and until you stepped on that bit, I guess. Um, eh, Look, I mean, that's a nasty cut. Do you want me to do anything about that?
Uh, yeah. I mean, yeah. You have something that could wrap around a bandage.
I've probably got something in my pack. I'm going to scavenge in my pack to see if I can find something to.
Yeah, that seems fair. Yeah.
Um, I'm just going to go straight to dive.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm searching through my pack to see if I can find something for Art's head. 3 and 4.
So I think that you will find a bandage that you can put to help out. But you also realize that maybe you're hearing something else down here in the basement with you. Does that feel like a reasonable consequence? The
Mm-hmm.
time that you're taking to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, you can get Art back up, and the basement goes on for a ways. Your flashlight doesn't particularly illuminate well. You're hearing something moving, and of course there is that door down to that subtunnel. We'll come back to you too in just a second. Jack,
Okay.
smooth tongue, wet. What do you do?
So I'm trying to stay completely still, but this is like hitting a lot of my kind of, yes, it's not dog-like, but I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. Not liking it. Not liking it. And my instinct, I'm trying to combat, is to kind of lash out. Uh, how long does it last for? Is it a long, elongated lick, or is
It
it
is
like
a
a
is
just a
a
taste?
it is a lick, wets your arm, and then kind of uh steps back like it's trying to figure out what to do next.
I'm gonna just try and uh, think back to my rugby training in school and run at the beast guy thing, and try and knock it down. Kind of barge it with my shoulder and run past it, not
Yeah,
knowing where I'm going. It's complete blackness. I'm just gonna
I think
try
this
and run
is
because
this
I'm
is
freaking out.
this is scrap because you're trying to get through. Like
Sure.
that's a big obstacle here. So,
hmm
3 dice for you.
3 dice. Uh, and I'm gonna try and spin a story here as
Okay.
well, maybe, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Running into darkness as well. Um, so the name the locals give the monster that lurks in the dark places. So my my mind shifts back to kind of a childhood book that I used to have, Myths and Mysteries of the United Kingdom, and they were talking about the Beast of Bodmin Moor, which is in Cornwall, not anywhere near the Peak
Okay.
District. But I'm like, well, man, and then I'm thinking Loch Ness Monster, and I'm thinking prehistoric monsters, and my mind is racing at a million miles an hour. I'm pulling all the different monsters together that I've seen and heard of, and I'm thinking, is this a fucking werewolf? And I'm like, werewolves don't exist. And
Perfect.
then I'm thinking, and I'm just like, I don't care, I gotta get out of here. And then I'm gonna run and show the barge.
4
So
dice.
46.
Look at
That's
that. That's
6.
6. So you will slam into this thing and it goes back and you hear a meaty chunk as you push back and you hear this cry from this thing and you realize that you have thrown it back onto something and it has impaled itself on it. Do you keep running?
I keep running.
Okay.
I'm not stopping to look. I'm not
Okay.
curious like the others.
Absolutely. So you will keep running, moving, trying to get out. It looks like okay, and I think we'll end with you kind of breaking out into the cool night air. We'll come to we'll bring you and Jake together in just a moment. But
Okay.
Art, Dennis has helped you. You got your head knocked. You look around. You see you're on a basement with essentially a dirt soil packed earth floor. There's shadows around. You can hear something moving, and there is a giant door in the floor of this room that is swung open. Looks like someone cleverly levered it up.
I'm gonna listen for whatever the sound.
There
Oh,
there is a figure, something moving at the edges of the walls outside of your view.
uh, who, Dennis has the flashlight, right? So I just kind of like grab his arm and I, kind of pull it towards where the sound is.
And that light will flash over there, and you will see this thing. It's humanoid. It has arms. It has legs, but the legs terminate into what looks like hooves. And you will see, is it a swine, a boar, a pig face? It's unclear, but a wet snout and a tongue that is kind of lolling out that is black and broken little tusks there. And those eyes are black in its head when the flashlight hits them. And as soon as that light hits it, it comes running at you, just through here. What do you do?
I'm gonna dive to the other side of the open door. Hopefully the thing will fall in
Okay.
as it's charging at me.
Scrap or risk?
Risk.
Okay. Uh,
And
Now, Dennis, do you want to help? Because you could mark a fear to assist.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How are you helping out with this?
With this plan of getting to the other side um, of the doorway, uh, I think maybe the way that I'm helping is simply by copying his movement, seeing his plan, copying his movement. So the thing isn't going to be distracted and go, oh, I'm not going to go for that one. I'll go for the one who's standing still.
Perfect. So that's an extra die for that. So geez, that's 4 dice. There's almost no chance you could fail.
oh, don't say that.
What's
All right.
worse than 3 1s? 4 1s.
All right. Nope. We got this. All right. Yeah, I got a
That's
6.
6. So this thing does come running at you, clearly blinded by this light here. Wasn't expecting it, and it tumbles when it comes and hits that edge of that doorway down, and it falls, and you'll hear the squeal and the bounce, and then the meaty sound as its neck snaps. And then silence. We'll come back to you two. Jake, you're running. You're running. There are these things, you know, you're not looking at them. You're just trying to get away from them. You're also trying to film. And I think you can tell that they're behind you. And now they're kind of like singing something to one another, like a call and a response. And then just ahead of you, suddenly there's Jack.
I just almost go flying into Jack, and I'm still holding the camera, and I say, "What the fuck?"
And I'm just absolutely terrified in my face. I'm probably covered in masonry dust and twigs and all manner of things. And I'm just like, where, werewolves? Run!
Something's after us. Some crazy shit.
Yeah, they are hot on your heels.
I'm just going to grab him and try and get him to run in the opposite direction from where they are.
Okay.
Admittedly, we are leaving the other 2 behind.
Well, I was going to say, yes. What about
That is a thing that is
Jennifer
happening.
and Art? What do we do?
We'll lose them in the mist. We'll circle around and come back.
Okay, if you think so.
You've been doing the couch to 5K running regime that I told you about, right?
No, of course not. I just pretended.
Come on.
So this feels like flee, which you do have a dot in, Jake.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I can roll that.
Yeah.
Can I help in any way?
Yes, you could help
I don't
by,
have a dot though.
well, you could spend your last point of fear, take a trauma, and clear your fear track, and give them an extra die.
That sounds like what the game wants me to do. So yes.
Like this kind of snaps for you. What does that feel like, and like what direction do you think you go in? Is it now you're reckless? Is it that you're angry? Is it that you're kind of giving up and going soft?
Initially, I thought when I would hit this, it would be angry, but I feel like the accumulation of events makes me feel like I'm now just reckless.
Okay,
So
absolutely.
I'm gonna mark reckless. I'm gonna clear my fear.
Clear your fear, and you get an extra die, Jake.
Cool. So I'm up to 2. Can I tell a story for one more, please?
You're up to 3 actually, because you start with 1,
Ah,
flee for 1, and then the
yep.
extra die from Jack. So yeah, you can tell the story to get a 4th die if you wish.
I think, can I do a story about can I do a story about the Moors murderers? And there was lots of rumors about why they were so evil and did what they did, basically. But one of them was that they made some kind of deal with the devil up here. And there's like, I don't know, occult shit, and it was never proven or anything like that. But yeah, this place is really messed up.
Yeah,
And that,
and not satanic stuff, but to old gods, to old things, right?
yeah. Oh gods, exactly. Yeah, something way beyond, Satan and all that. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So
Okay,
that's 4 dice.
brilliant. Let's see. Not ones. Please.
Wow,
Yay. One extreme to the other.
3 6s. So I think that the two of you will run, kind of cut, and you will move away from the house, kind of double back. What is it you find that gives you some cover and a chance to catch your breath here? Is it like an outhouse? Is it a piece of shrub? Is it a tree? What do you think it is?
I'm happy with an outhouse. Or do you know, maybe can we go with an old, there's not many trees about, but a big old burnt out tree kind of a thing.
Okay, yeah, it looks like there might have been a good garden here once. It's one of these few ones that's holding on. The roots are actually thick, and the two of you can just you dart up this tree, and these things don't even have a sense that you've done that. And you'll see these four figures go loping, running around. You still don't know what they are, but you have completely evaded them, and they're calling in that kind of baleful way that says, where are they? Where are they? And they keep moving around. Dennis, Art,
Back.
what do you want to do?
Jesus Christ, I don't know what that is, but I don't want to go down there. I think we should find a way out that I came in and get out of here.
All right, let's close this door. I mean, I think
Really
it's dead,
heavy.
but what?
It's really, really heavy. All right, I guess between us we should be able to get to it.
Right.
I think it's easier to close than it was to open with the two of you. And I think you can slam it shut with a sound of finality.
All right, good. Let's
So I'm gonna scout ahead. Scout, as in I'm going to like I know the way out from this room, um, and I'm going to be trying to make sure there isn't something around the corner.
You will move to the stairs that you came up, and you will see that stairway, that doorway that you came down through, is just covered in wood and rubble.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! What do we? What,
well, we could go the way I got here, and I point to the hole in the floor.
Yeah, you have to kind of boost on one another's shoulders to get up there and try to clamber up in there.
Um,
what? It's either that or down where that creature came
no.
from. It couldn't have come out down through the.
Uh, 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 is there anything around here that we could use to help us climb up?
Do a little more searching here of the basement.
Yeah. Well, uh, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So that
So
would be
let me ask you this here, because I think this is the point at which I'm going to drop our end of Act 2 plot twist. What does this desecrated shrine look like down here, Art?
uh desecrated shrine. Uh so it's a shrine to some kind of uh it's a shrine to it's like a Christian shrine, if that's okay to say.
Okay.
But it's been desecrated.
Okay.
I think there's a cross there. Um, but I think instead of the Christ figure being the corpus being crucified to it, um, I think there is uh, what's suitably gross. I'll just say a skeleton of some creature that we do not recognize.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Dennis, what offerings have been left here at this shrine?
Um, the organs of various small animals, just mounds and all over the place in all different states of rotting decay, and some very fresh.
Absolutely. Like you can see that some are clearly from maybe today that are on there. Jake, Jack, you're in that tree. You kind of catch your breath, you look around. As you look around at this tree, the only standing tree in this garden, what is there in this tree that indicates that this is some kind of sacred, horrible elder god site of worship? Jake?
I think as we're sitting in the tree and I've got the camera on Jack and I'm saying, you okay, Jack? Everything's not okay, is it, Jack? Everything is fucked up. Um, I think we look around, or I pan the camera around, and I think we see just lots of little silver charms and mixed in with maybe probably some entrails sort of hanging that are wrapped around them, hanging from the tree. All these, it's like a disgusting Christmas tree, and we realize that we're sitting in the middle of this thing.
And Jack, what is here with this tree, either in the tree or about the tree, that shouldn't be possible?
Okay. Um, jutting out. So the tree's old
Mhm.
and big, thick branches supporting our weight. Um, where we feel there's like little knots on the tree. When the flashlight from the camera actually pans down upon them, there's actual human bones or some sort of bone actually growing within the tree. It's almost like the bark is over the top of some sort of mammalian bone, but the bone is kind of almost breaking out in certain spots, which I thought were just little knots in the tree, but are actually like bits of bone breaking out from within the tree.
Perfect. And I think from the gorge, with that call and response from these four things, we now hear a louder call from that gorge, like a much bigger call, and it echoes. And I think even in the basement, you can hear that. Let's take our second break, take 5, and we're going to come back to Act 3. So now, before we go into Act 3, you all get to advance, and you have 3 choices. You can add 2 dots to one of the actions. You can add 1 dot to 2 different actions, or you can take a new special ability.
Do you want us to tell you?
Yeah, what are you going to take?
I'm going to get a +1 to 2 action ratings. I'm going to go, I'm going to double down on my luck. I'm going to go risk and scrap.
Okay.
I feel like my recklessness is going to make me even more potent in the scrap.
That seems perfectly appropriate. Jake, what about you?
I'm going to go with what lies beneath. Special ability. When you take a quiet moment to comfort or support someone, you make an action roll with study, um, and I can potentially clear people's fear. So I'd like to use that ASAP on Jack.
Okay, we'll come back into that when we come into your scene. That seems perfect. Art, what are you going to take?
Uh, I'll take one in study.
Okay, and then you got one more dot, right?
Oh, cool.
You get 2+1s.
One in fleet,
Okay, Flea, a good call.
just in
All right,
case.
yeah, just in case. And what about for Dennis?
Um, yeah, flee because
Okay,
he, and but also he's been a bit risky.
okay,
So I thought I'd reflect that by putting one in risk as well.
perfect.
And I noticed that I've got debunked the myth. Um, and you could, which I didn't think of when I was helping out Art, taking a moment to rest and recuperate.
Sure. Let's see. Do you want to start with that here in this scene? Like as you hear that sound, do you want to play off of that?
Yeah, I will give that a go. Um, yes, all right. So, um, so, so I guess I bandaged Art's head. We just had we just slammed the door down, discovered that the thing was closed, that we couldn't get out the way that I came in. Um, and I'm just going to, tend to his bandages again and say, and and just sort of like, okay, we've got to breathe. Let's just think this out. Look, you know, I remember I remember Jack was telling us about. You remember about those uh, hotboxing episodes that he had with his friends, where they were talking about personification of the sickness in the land or something like this. I mean that's just crazy. The land doesn't get sick, right? That's not possible. We're not going to have a personification of that. There must be some kind of rational explanation for these creatures. Maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, genetic experiment or something going on, or maybe even it's this maybe even Jake has set this all up for us.
Excellent. So I had 3 myth points in my pool after I spent the one to start the scene. So I am at 2 myth points for doing sort of free hard moves against you right now. And let's continue. Let's stay in the basement with you two with this shrine that you found. You've got the hole that you need to get up that's blocked off. Maybe there's another passage out. What are you doing, Dennis?
Yeah, so I think Dennis isn't very happy about the idea of going clambering out the hole, the clambering up, but he certainly doesn't want to go down the hole. So he's gonna he's gonna sort of search around and to see if there is another way out, or if there's something that we can use to get up, make clambering out of the way that Art came down a little bit easier or something like that.
So that feels like study.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So you're starting with 3 dice.
yes. Um, and I think that unless Art wants to help me out, I think I will stick with the 3 dice.
Uh, it's up to you.
You could also push yourself, spend 2 fear and get another die.
Well, why not?
Why not?
Why not? There we are.
4 dice.
Yeah,
6.
6. No.
So there is another way out of here. What is it? Tell me what that is.
Cool. Uh, Oh, I think it's the entrance that is used to bring, the wine and food and things into the cellar to be stored in the cellar. And so it's rather than steps, it's, a ramp up, and then I'm thinking, with the vault kind of ramp up, and then it's the
Yeah.
two double doors that open at the top.
Yeah. I think that you can and this kind of will come to art action here. You can get that open, but here are the things. Do you want to get it open quietly? Or do you want to get it open rapidly? Because it definitely is overgrown. Like there's dirt and stuff on top of it. How do you want to approach that? Art?
I think, yeah, I mean, I've told us that I saw figures, at least four on the outside. So we can try to do it quietly, as
Okay.
quietly as we can. Yeah,
All right. Uh, then I think that is going to be still. Like I think you're trying to do this quietly.
cool. Uh, I'll
Three
s-
three dice.
I'll tell a story.
Please give me another myth point.
Oh yeah, yeah. uh, a strange ritual observed by local people. I think people carry a mirror. Everyone carries like a little mirror or something reflective. And and the tale that when I asked why, they said like whatever, they started what I thought was nonsense about like spirits or elder gods, or they're not fully in this realm, but even when they manifest. So if you turn your back on them and look at through a mirror, you can you won't see them. And you just gotta walk backwards to where you thought they were, or where you had seen them, and they can't harm you, supposedly.
Supposedly. Yes. So that's four dice then.
Or
So that is a four. I think that Art, you and Dennis will be able to push up against it, but I think that you do like have to push with your shoulder. And I'm going to give you another level one harm. I think as you feel something twinge in it as you're pushing on this as carefully as you can. Now you can resist that with nerve if you want.
uh, and if I don't resist it, I just
You get
um,
another level one harm.
right. Was I supposed to get one fear when I put that
Oh,
in
so
confession?
uh, uh, basically, whenever you take fear, you're going to take an additional fear.
Oh,
So you haven't yet had to, but potentially
right.
now, if you
So
want to
now
resist it.
if
If you don't resist that, you're going to have this twisted shoulder, and now any harm is going to go up to level 2 and level 3.
right. And then will it was that is that plus one fear cumulative so that I'll have
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
it
okay,
is.
got it. All right. So if I resist it, uh
With nerve,
right, that means
2 dice.
all right, two dice and that possibility. Yeah, two dice. Can I throw in another story?
Nope, nope. That can't, not with resistances,
Gotcha.
but a good ask though.
All right. Yeah, let's resist it and
Okay.
hope for this.
So that'd be
Four.
2 plus 1. So you're going to take 3 fear, but you're not going to have that your shoulder give as you are slowly getting these doors open quietly so that nothing can hear you. Though you are hearing that noise from outside. But let's roll back just a minute to Jake and Jack in the tree. And Jake, you had a move you wanted to do there, right?
Yes. So the move, if I can find it, yeah, was what lies beneath. So I think I see Jack is freaking out a little bit. I think maybe when is that okay, Jack?
Yeah,
He
go
sees
for it.
the bones in the tree, and I think he says, um, Jack, do you know how? I mean, you've always been a bit of an asshole, but I've got something to tell you that's a bit embarrassing, but now is as good a time as ever. But I don't know. I kind of always really looked up to you. You know, you were the guy on the sports field. You were the guy with the girl in his arm. You know, you're that guy. You know, so you're not afraid of anything.
Um, it kind of maybe kind of breaks me out of that immediate panic, and I kind of shake my head a little bit. There's still fucking bones in the tree, and there's still werewolves hunted us. But yeah, I don't know. I don't currently have any fear because I wiped them off
Ah,
to get reckless, but I don't know.
But there's some other potential bonuses that they can offer there. So, uh,
Okay.
uh, Jake, why don't you roll study? That's 3 dice.
um, oh yeah. So they clear fear, or I clear fear,
Yep.
or I can take
There
plus
we
one.
go.
Okay. Can I use a move on a move? Um, which is basically to say to Jack, you know, this is the bit in the bit in the horror movie where the two guys who hate each other kind of bond just before, one of them gets killed. This is that moment.
Oh God. Yeah. So roll with 4 dice.
Cool. Okay. Um,
So that is a
oh,
6.
6. Nice.
You get to pick 2 of those things.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, yeah, I will clear one fear for myself. So if you don't have any fear at all, Jack, um,
No.
I'll clear one fear for myself and I'll take plus one to my next
Well, you'll give
resistance
that
roll.
to them. They
Oh,
have,
they
yeah,
take, got
yeah.
it.
So the next
Cool.
resistance
Okay.
roll, you will get plus 1 dice.
Brilliant.
Uh, so you hear that call outside, and you can see over by that I talked about part of the house that had kind of fallen off the cliff edge and things like that. Had kind of you will see those figures have gone over there and are kind of like you can see them in the fog, standing there waiting. And then you'll hear the sound get louder, and you'll see a larger shape come up over that cliff edge. You can't see what it is, but it is definitely taller. At least the height of 2 people, at least. What do you do, Jack?
We we got to get out of this tree because this tree is fucked. And then we need to go back to the others because we're not leaving them behind. We need to make sure that they're okay, and then we need to get as fast as we can away from that fucking thing.
You lead, I'll follow, and I'll film it. Let's go.
So I'm gonna try and make my way back to the house to
Tell me,
see whether I can
Jack,
find the other two.
how do you realize that the tree itself has grabbed onto you as you've been sitting there? Is
Yeah.
it the bark is holding on? Is it the bones? Is it something else? What is it about it has grabbed slowly, almost imperceptibly onto the 2 of you?
So I imagine we're both like sat on the tree branch, and um, I've just been talking to Jake, and when I start to kind of get up to move, I realize that there's a sheet of bark that has grown around my chest, around my middle, and now that I notice it, it's very tight.
Yeah. How do you want to get out of this?
I'm gonna I'm probably going to have to scream because that seems like an appropriate response. And I'm just going to try and just rip it apart and roar out,
Given how reckless
saying,
that is, I'll let you use scrap for that.
sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to stay with 4. So 3 + 1 is 4, right?
Yep.
I'll stick with that. Surely I'll get a success with 46.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. 6.
You know, rip, it tears at the clothing that it's attached to, but you will roar and kind of and come down out of that tree. Jake, you will realize you are also grabbed and wrapped by this tree. Are you also fighting? Is it a more risk? Like what is the method that you are using to escape from this?
I'm just having a little look. Um, would study help? Or I can just risk it.
Hmm. If you had time, if you
Yeah,
weren't under
okay.
pressure, I would say study, but risk, 2
I'll
dice.
go I'll go full risk. Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
Uh,
Um,
do you want to spend a couple of fear to get yourself another die?
um, yes, I think I'll just do that. I'll just spend the fear and get the die.
Okay.
So 1, 2. Nice. So 3 dice.
3 dice. So that is a 5. I think you will
Okay.
realize that if you want to get out of here in this way, that some of this bark is attached to your skin and it is going to tear away a portion of it. Are you okay with taking that level 1 harm and having to you can resist that or you can take it?
I think I'll just take it.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
So
scream.
it where is it? Is it the part on your arm, on the side, on the leg? Where do you think?
Yeah, I'm happy to go with a big strip of skin off my arm, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Pull it away, cry out. Your screams are buried under Jack's, angry cries, but still, suddenly your arm is warm and you can feel the blood running down it as you drop to the ground. But the two of you are out of the tree. Let me come to Art, Dennis. In one direction, you hear Dennis, this whoa, this throat warbling cry, big that echoes and vibrates, and then a response of 4 smaller callings to their master that way. And then you hear off the other direction a both a scream of anger and a scream of pain. What do you want to do, Dennis?
That's Jack if I know him anywhere. And as much as I'm sure that the the people we don't want, have suddenly been alerted to our friends in that direction, it's also the direction away from I don't know what. I don't want to go anywhere near that.
Why are we still talking? I run.
Right. So let's just leg it that way.
So that feels like flee, Dennis. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 dice right now.
Yeah. Um. Yes. I 2 dice and I think um I think I'm also going to push 2 fear.
Okay.
So 3 dice.
3 dice.
That's it.
6.
I
You
was lucky.
are up out of that and you are running as fast as you can that direction, even as you're hearing that cry out. Art, you are also fleeing.
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah.
Okay. Let's have you roll flee.
All right.
You and I are much better at just standing still.
Yeah. All right. Let's roll with shoot.
Look at
Haha.
that. The two of you are running flat out around this place. You hear the sound of these things. You're well ahead of them. Uh, uh, so right now the threat isn't them coming up behind, but they are, definitely they've heard the cries of Jack and Jake and are going to be coming this way. Uh, you are running forward, and you will see that this horrible hanging tree that they've jumped out of, but you'll feel this vibration, this shaking of the ground, and you will see a section of the ground give way. And there is this gap, maybe a 6-foot gap, that is collapsed from between where you, Art, and Dennis are, and where Jake and Jack are. Uh, Jack, you see Art and Dennis running towards you. You'll feel that vibration, and you'll see that section of the ground give way. In the distance, you hear the Ulan call from this big thing as this hunt begins to come following your cries. Jack, what do you want to do?
Sorry, I was just listening. Um, so remind me. So my friends are running towards me,
Yeah, and they would normally have made it to you,
and
but
we're
this
running
just
towards them.
well, you've fallen out of the tree. You haven't quite decided which way
Yeah.
you want to run because you
Okay.
definitely want to run away from those shapes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
now there's a 2 meter plus wide gorge that they're going to have
Okay.
to jump to get to you.
Uh, I'm gonna try and see if there's any sort of large branch that might have fallen in the surrounding area that I can maybe try and kind of shift over to try to help them somehow to kind of get across.
Make a quick bridge for them to make it easier for them to get
Yeah,
across. Okay,
something.
that feels like risk.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna spend 2 fear to
Okay,
get a third die on that. So 3d6. It's a 5.
so that is a 5. I think you will get it, but it's not particularly solid, and I think it will support one of them, but not both coming across. Would you like to resist that consequence?
Yeah, fuck
Okay.
it. All right.
Yeah.
I've got that +1 to
Yeah.
my next resistance roll from
Uh,
Jake.
so we pulled it off of risk. So roll luck. So 4 dice.
4 dice.
Oh yeah.
1 6.
No fear. Jake, you see Jack grab up like a section of dead trunk,
Mhm.
throw it across to make a makeshift bridge. Uh, Art and Dennis are getting ready to come across, and you'll hear that sound, and you can definitely see that there's some things coming that way. And I'll spend my last myth point, and you can see from the other side a pair of these things kind of coming the other direction to kind of pincer you.
Okay. So is there four on, and the big one's on
Yeah,
Dennis and Art's side?
they're a ways away. The
Yeah.
Dennis and Art are between you and them, so you just have to outrun them.
Hmm.
And but they are coming this way because of the noise that you made.
Hmm.
So the direction that you kind of want to run to get away from it, there's a couple of these boar pig things coming.
Well, first of all, I'll start screaming, "They're behind us! They're behind us!" Um, They're everywhere. Hold on, I've got to see. And then just looking for another way out, basically, another
Okay.
escape.
Let's have you make a study roll.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. So study is 2 dice.
So 3 with the base.
Yeah, 3 dice. Okay. And I'm just wondering if
you want to spin a story and give me another myth point to spend, or mark 2 fear and give yourself another die.
okay. I think I'm just gonna roll with what I've got. So
Okay.
1 second. So 3 dice, yep.
Yep.
So should be fine. What such a bad roll.
So I think you will step, and you're kind of moving to look, because there's still some cliff edge here.
Can I offer a little consequence that I'd quite like to do at some point?
Absolutely.
I'd like to drop my camera.
Yeah, I think that your camera goes down just ahead of you as you start, the edge of this ground kind of gives way, and you desperately grab on, because it's a slide down towards, like, not exactly the gorge, but you can see there's some water down below, and you hear your camera go. So the consequence, you can resist, are losing your camera or falling and being in a perilous position. Or you can resist neither of those.
I will resist. I want to resist losing my camera, please.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely. Then that's nerve.
Okay. Now, do I have any nerve? A little bit, 2 dice.
Okay.
You'll be dead at the bottom of a crevasse, but you'll be holding your camera up.
Camera. Okay. This will make an amazing movie.
Yeah. So 3 fear.
God.
So you have slipped. You've got one hand kind of hanging on to this wet edge here, trying to keep yourself from falling. You're hanging on, but you've managed to grab the strap, and you've got a hold of it. And the camera has not tumbled into the void down below. Dennis, Jack has set up this bridge. These things are coming from behind. You see Jake looking around and then slip off the edge. And you see a couple of these things, these pig things, coming running that direction too. What do you want to do?
Dennis says, "Go for it, Art," and then he just changes direction completely and runs parallel to the ravine thing that's opened up.
Okay.
In whichever direction looks like it has the most cover, and he's hoping that the things are going to go after the loud, noisy, obvious people and not pay attention to him.
Okay. Let's have you roll this as flee to take another tactic to split off.
Yeah, just because it's no fun if you don't have any miss points, right?
Right.
I'll tell a story.
Okay.
I'll spin a story. So the reason the crops planted here wither and die, and this actually is because of that tragic story of the shepherd and his sheep. And whereas ordinarily you'd imagine that all of that blood and stuff would actually be quite good for the plants and so forth, there was some compound in the rocks around here that reacted with the blood that has caused the land to become barren, and that was why the Lord ended up abandoning the house that he was living in at the time.
Perfect. So that's 3 dice for you.
That's 3.
That's
Oof.
a 6. You go running along the ravine, kind of ducking behind some shrubs, keeping out of line of sight of this. These things are not going to see you when they come charging up after Jake, Jack, and Art. You're safe right now, alone but safe. Art, you go across that bridge.
Yeah,
Right? Okay.
it sounds like that Dennis was telling me to go to cross the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ahead of you, there are two problems. One are two of these pig things coming this way. The other is Jake is clinging for dear life on the cliff edge.
Um, I can't really fight two big things. I'm gonna try to help Jake.
Okay. Tell me how you're doing that. Are you just leaping and trying to pull him up, or are you doing something fancy?
I want to do something risky, but I don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, I will grab tree roots and oh, it's gonna be risky because my shoulder's not that
Oh,
great.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna, so I'll grab tree roots with one arm and try to grab Jake with the other.
absolutely. So roll risk, 3 dice.
Can I use to hell with it? My move.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. This is ridiculous. You're grabbing onto these roots, trying to do that. So in that case, you roll 4 dice.
Cool. 5.
So I think you can throw these roots over for Jake to grab onto. Uh, However, these are the roots from that tree,
Okay.
and I think that you will feel a kind of biting pain as they bore into your hands to hold you.
Oh,
And you're kind of hanging on to that. Even as Jake, you can pull yourself up. Jack,
Mhm.
two pigs, Art struggling with these roots, but Jake's in a safe place. Dennis has run off by himself, and the big things are coming.
so the two pig things are the most immediate threat.
Yeah, they are the ones that are closest and certainly blocking your way of escape.
Then I'm going to recklessly run towards them, pick up a branch from the floor on my way, and start swinging at them. Basically, I'm trying to buy time for the others to you know get themselves ready and I don't know, figure something out. Um,
What is it you say to them as you go to do that? What is your catchphrase here at this point?
if you don't see me again, which is my ability, special ability, um, tell Jim I love him. Sort of, yeah, yeah. Just tell him I love him.
All right, so scrap with 5 dice.
Uh, I'm gonna spin a story as well, if I may, to add one more, just to give
Sure.
you another myth point
Hey.
more than anything. The sound you never want to hear in the dead of the night. So growing up as a boy, my elder sister uh, wanted to watch this film called Hannibal. Um, she didn't quite realize that I was only 8 at the time and probably wasn't appropriate. And there's a scene in that movie where someone gets fed to pigs and he gets eaten alive. And that has become like my one of my fears and kept me up all through my teenage years and still occasionally I get nightmares about it. So that's the sound. The sound of pigs eating my own body is the sound I do not want to hear in the dead of the night.
All right, so that's 6 dice.
I better succeed with this, right? What's the chances? Yeah, one six.
There is a 6 in there. So I do think like these two things are up, they're hardy, they're running at you, and we see you begin to clash, smash into them, and you are locked up in melee, keeping them away from the others. Absolutely have control of the situation. Jake, Art has pulled you up from there. He's got these roots. Jack has cleared the way for you to run. You're not sure where Dennis is. And you'll hear this woof, woof, and then this running leap. And this thing comes out of nowhere. It's about 12 feet tall. It's big, muscled, sort of rawhead Rex style with the big, horrible pig face on it, and it lands just on the edge, on your side of the edge, over that gorge, and it balefully cries out at the night. What do you do, Jake?
I think my face is an absolute picture of terror as this happens, but almost as an automatic response, my hand is just going out to the side and picking up the camera. Yeah, I'm just filming it, just as an automatic reaction. Just like I cannot believe what I am seeing here. Whatever happens, I'm gonna record this.
Okay, so you kind of we'll come back to you actually in a moment. Dennis, you're actually relieved you're on this side of the gorge. That thing's on the other side. On the other hand, all your friends are there. What do you want to do?
Dennis is being very cool and calculating, as is his sort of like studious self, and he's making all kinds of reward calculations. And what he is trying to do, actually, uh, he he is looking for, as he's running along, as I said, parallel to the ravine thing that's opened up. And he's looking for a bit of an edge of the ravine where he can drop over and just sort of like hang by the edge of the ravine, hopefully with his feet on something, but just so he's just not visible at all unless you were to look into the chasm itself.
Okay.
Um,
So you already made that flea roll before, so I don't think we need to necessarily make you move. Well, like, do you want to try and are you trying to hide more permanently? Are you trying to scoot to get away? What do you think?
no, I'm trying to hide quite permanently. Yeah.
Okay. Then I think this is you rolling still
Yeah.
to keep yourself away from any of these other packs or things here while all of this is going down.
Yep. And I'm going to push myself because I am scared out of my mind.
Absolutely.
So it takes me up to 3 again.
3 dice.
I love rolling 3. Let's see how it goes.
Oh,
Whoopee!
you you will find an edge. You find a place you can get to. Nothing can see you here. Your friends can't see you. They can't, the monster can't see you. The other pig things can't see you. You are 100% safe. If you stay here, you know that you will survive this. If you just stay quiet. Don't help them. Just stay here. Everything will be fine. Art. You look up, you see Jake not do anything. Camera up as this big thing lands and shakes the earth. You've got these roots kind of stuck to your hands. You see Jack is fighting off and clearing you a path for the the other pig things. What do you want to do? Dennis, you have no idea what Dennis is.
Uh, uh, um, can I remove these roots from my hand?
Uh sure. We'll tie that into whatever action you want to do.
All right, so I'm just gonna like try to, yank my hand. Um, yeah, I'm going to try to follow that advice about the mirror and try to grab grab the camera. There's that little part that comes out that has a mini screen.
Uh-huh.
Um, how does that work? So Man. Yeah, I'm gonna yell at Jake, just trust me and have it so that the thing is in the screen or it's facing where it is, but our backs are toward it, and hopefully it won't be able to harm us. Because if we can't see it, it can't see us. Not
The logic of a 3-year-old.
Absolutely. This is ridiculous. So let's have you
Yeah.
roll with this.
All right. Uh, and I'm gonna push myself. So
Not with this one. This
oh,
one
you
you get
can't do
four
that.
dice. Nope. Yeah, it's just straight four dice.
Okay. Uh, 5.
So that is a 5. So you are going to take a minor harm
All right.
as you have to pull your hands away from these roots, kind of rips, uh, uh, and you kind of do that. And I think that what we see is this huge pig thing kind of stops, not for the mirror thing or anything supernatural, but it can see the little camera like image there, and you see its pig eyes kind of narrow because it's never seen anything like that, and you see it kind of starting to lean forward like what is that coming. You can feel its hot breath on you as it's staring at the camera. You know that you have it transfixed for a moment. Now, Jake, what do you do?
Uh, I'll look it in the eyes and I'll say, "What are you?"
I am the old gods.
I'll start backing away from it.
You see it start to reach forward, and it's reaching for the camera. What do you do, Jake? You can escape. Its attention is on the camera. Art has it transfixed.
Um, I'll say no. It's my camera.
I'm going to try and grab the camera and run.
Yeah.
That's a flee roll.
Okay. Let's see. So normally one dice.
Yes.
Um,
So 2 dice with the dot that you have in flee.
2 dice. I think I will need to spin a little story. An old forgotten name linked to this region, and a detail about the person or thing it belongs to. Um, so yeah, maybe there's like um a story that my grandmother told me, and it just comes back to me in this instant about this something in the thing. It was like a kid's fairy tale. This thing that stopped the Moors. And I think it was just called, it probably just called Pig Face or something like that, something
Okay.
silly. Um, but it kind of comes back to me. What's the rest of it? Yeah, and Pig Face isn't too clever. And there's like a little story about how a girl outwits it with a, not maybe, a shiny stone or something like that. It's just, yeah, and blinds it for a second. So maybe I turn the camera and flash it in its eyes just at that instant.
Okay.
Um,
3 dice.
okay. Two, one more. Please be good. Not bad.
So I'm going to spend my myth points.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think that you will grab the camera away, and that face comes down, and you turn and run. And I think you've got that camera in your hand and you're running. And it's as you're running past Jack that you realize that wound you had on your arm, you're not feeling that anymore. and you look down and that arm is gone. You just feel the warmth of that blood running off. You've got the
Okay.
camera. You have run away from this thing. And Jack, you see Jake come running past, camera in hand. He is making the break for it. You've got these things pushed back. The big thing is there. Art is like was holding it in place with the camera, but Jake has taken the camera. What do you want to do?
So I can see art. So
Yes.
what I'm thinking is that Jake seems to be heading towards safety. But I look around, I see art potentially in, just standing there. I'm gonna go try and grab him and run after Jake. I'm assuming I don't see Dennis.
No, Dennis is a ghost. Uh, I'm going to let you roll risk with this with your +1.
Okay,
So four
risk.
dice right now.
Uh, 4 dice. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. I'm gonna spend 2 fear to get an extra one.
Okay,
Why not?
5 dice.
5 dice.
That's 6.
6.
You grab Art. Art, this thing was breathing on you. You saw it. You saw Jake's arm go in its mouth, the chaw of it, the like fingers going into its gullet. And then suddenly Jack has a hold of you and is running, and this thing is crying out. Art, what's the last thing we see you do in this scene as you and Jake and Jack, run off into the fog?
Oh Lord. Uh, what's the last
I
thing we
imagine I
see?
might have even got him on a fireman's
Yeah,
lift.
yeah.
So
Like,
he's maybe looking back as I'm running away. What do you see?
well, what
Oh,
what do we see you doing?
um,
Not necessarily a move, but I just want to know what is happening there with you before we move on.
yeah, I like that. Yeah, so I'm on Jack's back, and he's carrying me, and I look up and I see. Gosh, I think from this vantage point, I see what might be Dennis coming in to the side there, and what Dennis can't see from his vantage point is that there are more pig-like things coming. Um,
And then the fog
and
takes you and you
yeah,
don't see any more. Let's go to epilogues. As the mist kind of takes us. Let's, Dennis, do you want to go first or last?
Um, I'll go last.
Okay. Uh, so what is the epilogue for Jack? You run out to the moors, you manage to make it back. What do we see of you? What is the epilogue here for you? What do we see down the road for you?
I think you see probably another 6 months trying to cling on to this failing relationship with Jim, um, trying to cling on to some sort of source of support after all this trauma. Uh, Waking up in the middle of the nights with uh, feeling like I'm being held down onto the bed, whilst also being simultaneously eaten by pigs. I am fearing for my sanity, uh, and all my exercise regime is out of the window. The thoughts of trying to get to the nationals, gone. I just don't have the motivation now. Um, how can I possibly and yeah, and then yeah, I'll probably stay in that failing
Yeah,
relationship because I'm just clinging on to something secure, and that's it.
excellent. Art, what do we see of you in the aftermath of this?
Oh yeah, I think I'm still in the business of helping people, but now it's like serious. It's like trying to help people who've been through trauma. Um, and I have a like a legit office with a degree in uh, psychotherapy, and I have a phone to my ear, and you hear the ringing, and then a message go on, and I just like wince, and I say, "Hey, Jack, it's Art again. I just wanted to check how you're doing. I haven't heard from you in a long time. Um, my door's always open. Um, give me a call." And it's like,
Nice. Jake, what is the aftermath? What is the fallout? What is the success or failure for you in the aftermath?
I think it's got to be Jake at the opening of his movie at the local art house cinema. And he's sort of standing on stage in front of a packed house, and he only has one arm. He's taken to wearing sunglasses at night, and it makes him look even cooler. And he's saying to the audience, this, friends, is not a work of fiction. This is fact. This happened to us. You can believe it or not, but what the footage I'm about to show you is real.
Excellent. And I don't think we get a sense of what the audience reaction is. I like cutting there that we don't know yet. Dennis,
Yes.
what is the
So
epilogue?
so the epilogue for Dennis is we cut to him and he's still holding on to that rock hanging down into the chasm. And those creatures are sniffling and snuffling around for hours, and he can feel his grip on the rock getting weaker and weaker, and the mud of the chasm that he's trying to um, use as footholds is peeling away until eventually he topples, and he's been as quiet as a mouse this whole time, but of course screams as he's falling down, gets hurt instantly. The pigs are on him and drag him off. And the last scene is a human heart at the on the monument thing in the
Uh,
cellar.
Excellent. Oof. Super creepy. And that's our movie. That's our show. Thank you all very much. If anybody wants to give any shouts out stars here at the end, I just want to say I really enjoyed this. I love these characters. I like what you built with them. I like the dedication to your concepts throughout. So I had a really good time. Jake, I don't know if you want to give a shout out to anything.
Yeah, really good. Loved it. I think, yeah, surprisingly, Forged in the Dark works pretty well for horror, actually, doesn't it? No reason why not. I enjoyed Dennis's stories. There was a few of them. They were a bit crazy, but they were good. And um, yeah, I like the scene with Art and Dennis and the trapped in the basement.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I thought it was super cool when Jack picked up a bit of wood and went charging at the big things in incredibly brave style. So yeah, great work all around.
Jack, anything you want to mention, say, shout out to?
I mean, everyone did really, really well. First time using the system, and I thought it was great. Loved the character building at the beginning and set building. Loved the structure. Uh, kind of loved knowing the structure
Hmm.
as well. So you can lean into certain things and as a player take a bit more control. But yeah, no, loved the spin in the stories mechanism. Uh, Loved all of them. Um, and yeah, so really good, really good.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I really love this as a one shot. I think this is a great 4 hour one shot. It definitely goes into my repertoire for things to take to conventions and stuff. I really think Chris Bissett did an amazing job with it. Um, Art?
Yeah, same thing. I loved everyone's story. I thought that was such a great mechanic. Um, and you know how, yeah, it just really added, let us add to the creepiness of everything. Um, uh, David, I love Jake's devotion to his art.
Yes.
To the point where you're losing body parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that was awesome. Ditto. I love Jack's trying to protect us and taking damage and uh, really being playing that jock, but like a good jock. Um, so I really appreciated that, and I loved Tisa. I loved Dennis's choice of hiding at the end, and it made sense. You're a skeptic, confronted with all these things that you cannot deny. So yeah, that made great sense. Lowell, I loved. Thanks for. I'll have to give a shout out for that licking, licking in the dark.
Yes.
I never thought licking could be so creepy, but it makes sense. I do love that how you that that we were always one bad die roll from disaster,
Hmm.
and you like how you played into that. Yeah. So thanks everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. And Dennis.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was also going to start the It Licks You because that was brilliant. It was perfectly timed. Um, but I also like the bones in the tree,
Oh yeah,
Alex. That
that
was
was
brilliant.
great.
And then Lowell, when you then took that and turned it into the tree, grabbing him, I thought that was brilliant, really good. Yeah, and yeah, it's the trade-offs and balances and choices that you have in this system where it's so simple and yet so evocative, right, of what we're trying to, the stories we're trying to tell. Right.
Mhm. Yeah, I love what you did with Dennis there at the end. I loved you going into the house. There's so much good stuff. Like all these characters had some everyone had dynamite moments early on and throughout. Thank you all for coming and playing here in this shared hearth game. I hope I get a chance to play with all of you again. I really had a good time. I'm going to stop the recording.